Okay, so just remember, 400 years has passed now. That means you're free.
Je suis noire. Mais je suis belle. Fille de Jérusalem. Black in 2020, e-book disponible sur jessieemileboutique.com.
Today's video, the theme is gas mask. So I'm doing this review in a series, and throughout the series I'm reviewing the American culture, what we call America, which we know is a deception. If by now you've watched the previous episode, you should understand that this ideal of America, the American dream, is just deception to lead the people astray. Hi, my name is Jessie and welcome back to my music video review titled American Oxygen.
American Oxygen. This is the new America.
911, what's your emergency?
America.
Martin Luther King was shot and was killed tonight.
Okay, so welcome back to this music video review titled Babylon in... No, not Babylon in Hindsight, but American Oxygen. And today is the 11th episode, and the title is Gas Mask. Of course, the theme verse for this music video review is Ephesians 6, that says, "We fight not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against the powers, against the rulers of darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places." Okay, so that's why we have to armor ourselves with the armor of God, which is the Holy Spirit prayer.
Gas mask. So my introduction has to do with identity, okay? So let's say... Okay, so let's go back to Hitler. So we know the story of Hitler. He was a hitman. His goal was to kill the Jew. He proclaimed that the real race was blonde hair with blue eyes. But the catch is, most people don't know that, yes, blonde hair with blue eyes, but we're talking about the prosperity of the serpent. Back to Eden, when God cursed the woman, Adam, and the serpent, he said that he would put an enmity, he would put like a, there will be duality between the prosperity of the serpent and the prosperity of the woman. But of course, man, the image of God, has dominion. So most people, when we talk about black and white, they think about the skin color. But just remember in the Bible, when Isaac, the son of Abraham, the son of the promise, so he had two children. So her wife was pregnant with two twins, but two non-identical twins. So the first one was Jacob, who was later named Israel. So Jacob, Jacob and his brother was named Esau, and he represents Edom, and Jacob represents the Israelites. So there were two nations. So Jacob was described, there's no description about Jacob, but when you look at the description of the woman of Jerusalem in the book Song of Song, or Cantique des Cantiques in French, you notice that it's described as la couleur des reins, noir, and then the hair like wool, okay, wool hair, so textured. And when they describe Esaü in the passage, I'll give the passage exactly. They describe Esaü as roux, so meaning, and his hair is like the poil, so silk hair. Imagine you don't know that you're made in the image of God, whether you're an Israelite or whether you're part of another nation. So when you watch the news, you don't know that when they promote the Jew symbol, you don't know that they're talking about you, because you don't know your identity. And the identity goes so far, because not only are you in the image of God, that means that you're made of soil and you're not part of the prosperity of the serpent. And now when it comes to the Israelites, are you an Israelite? Because we know that the chosen nation of God was Israelites, but le salut was made available for anyone who just believes, but not for the prosperity of the serpent.
Okay, so for today, Matthew 24:15-17, it says, "When ye therefore shall see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet, stand in the holy place. Whoso read, let him understand. Then let them which be in Judea flee into the mountains. Let him which is on the house stop, not come down to take anything out of his house. Neither let him which is in the field return back to take his clothes. And woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days. But pray ye that your flight be not in the winter, neither on the Sabbath day, for then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be. And except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened." Amen. So we're speaking of gas mask, and we know that Satan is the prince of power of air. So, American oxygen. So just close your eyes and breathe. Then you hear the heartbeat. So, I thought it was interesting, okay? So when you think of American oxygen, so it's an atmosphere. It's being put into a deep sleep, an illusion, a deception. It's spiritual death, a spell that is being cast out. And think of broadcasting, television, broadcast, okay? So in order to have the mass, we think, okay, when we think of mass media, we think of television. Okay, so let's read this article. So this was Rihanna in the 6th Vogue cover issued on November 29. So the title says, "I'm feeling a shift. I'm growing up. Rihanna, a fearlessness Fenty." And Fenty is fentanyl. And finding love. We find love in a hopeless place. Not a hope. Not a place with hope, but hopeless place. Okay, so the black face, the muse, my DNA through it. So I'm not the face of my brand, but I'm the muse, and my DNA has to run all the way through it, says Rihanna. I don't want anyone to pull up my website and think Rihanna would never wear that. Since its launch in May, Fenty has gone against the grain when it comes to luxury fashion brands. For starters, it's mainly sold through direct-to-consumer, retail through pop-ups, have occasionally open in major cities like New York City and Paris. The business model also follows a monthly drop strategy because Aguirre writes, when Rihanna sees something she likes, which at the moment includes a lot of Balenciaga, which means Baal is king, Latin word for Baal is king, which is getting on her nerves and giving her designer envy. She wants it now, so promoting envy and covetousness. Not in 6 months. So 6, think of the number 6, lol. Rihanna does not want to buy winter. And winter, think of Anna Wintour. And winter is like a atmosphere, a cold, dark winter, just like Joe Biden said during a discours. So Rihanna does not want to buy winter coats in August. Lol, fashionista.
In Balenciaga.
I know she's always wanted something of yours, so can you send me the cheapest thing with your label on it? A scarf, a piece of cloth with a price tag, even just a tag.
Send him the dress and the bill.
Than that.
Terrible!
Worst model I've ever seen. I like it.
She likes it. Then I like it.
Then I like it too.
Then I love it. More than you are capable of loving anything.
I love it.
So the red coat, the red attire. So it's really a fantasy, a lie, be live. Since he's in New York Fashion Week, then you see, of course, an astronaut, someone who's high. Then this looks like representing Kim Kardashian. So the mask, but the body is important. So Rihanna, the face. So the cover says, coming of age of her own winter, season of coats, the jacket strike, new guard, new rules, gas mask. Think of that. The fashion fund's radical. Okay, so it was in 2019, just before the BLM. And also remember that I Can Breathe, George Floyd died. When you read the article about his so-called death, you realize that he died from fentanyl, an overdose of fentanyl. Okay, so I do believe that drug use provoke heart attack. When I read about Aleister Crowley, but I'll get into that later. So, of course, so just close your eyes and breathe. So think of Jupiter, made of gas. Okay, Jupiter is known as a planet, but we know that the planets do not exist because there is water above. But Jupiter represents a stone. It represents a god, okay, a demon god, a false god. So it's literally a stone. And it is described as a gas planet. And also think of Hitler and the Jews' extermination through the gas chambers. Think of I Can Breathe, okay, George Floyd, and the protest that happened, which was a satanic chant. Okay, so Jupiter, or Anu, or Zeus, okay, is the fifth planet from the sun, Lucifer. So we know that the solar system is in reality Lucifer, the center of the universe. And when you look at the solar system, you see a 6, okay? Known as the biggest and the oldest of the solar system, it is formed of clouds of gas, dust, and ice. So think of the winter reference, Anna Wintour, also known as Jove for the Phoenicians, Ether, Zeus for the Greeks, Uranus, father of the sky, king of gods, father of undergods, Saint Peter, and its domain was Egypt. So this demon god had dominion over Egypt. So of course Rihanna pays homage to Nefertiti, and Rihanna, Juana, Marijuana, Inanna. So Nefertiti was known to be, Nefertiti means the beauty has arrived, known to be the most beautiful queen in Egypt. And think of Fenty Beauty, the brand of Rihanna, the makeup brand. And Fenty is a slang used in the street to refer to the drug fentanyl. And she was known to be the most beautiful queen in Egypt. And Nephthys, also one of her name, means a mistress. So see the hat? Okay, so of course, Egypt, their one world religion is Lucifer, the sun. So they worship the sun god, also known as Santa, Santeria, Lucifer, Lucy the goat, Madonna, etc. So the first music album of Rihanna was titled Music of the Sun. Okay, so from the beginning, she's giving glory to the sun. Also, this photo, she's wearing a gold outfit, and she has the pose of one of the heads of the Pyramid of Giza. At least she reminds me of the Sphinx. On the right, you see she's wearing a bodysuit or catsuit, a golden suit. And this was for Days magazine, issued on September 2021. And see here, it reads The Golden Reign of Rihanna. And also the outfit sort of looks like a snake. And I feel like I see an R. Yeah, the R. Yeah, see the shape of the R? Okay, interesting. Yeah, I see the R. Let me know if you see it. Okay, so in reference also, I Can Breathe. So that made me think of rhinoplasty. Okay, the procedure that is mostly common in so-called Hollywood. And also think of the black. I've showed previously in Egypt or America from this web series. I compared the Sphinx that we see in Giza from the one we see in Las Vegas. And also I do compare the Mississippi River to the Nile River. So I think you should definitely go check it out. And the nose seems to be a real topic. So speaking of nose, so Michael Jackson was known to be, well, when he was young, he was promoted as a black man with an afro hair. And when he got so-called older, he had this disease with the, I can't remember the name of the disease. So where he has like two colors, sort of like a cow color. Okay, so the two colors, just like cows. And then he then proceed to be uniform and just be white, and then to have his nose, to have a rhinoplasty. But to be honest, this is all of this masquerade is to mock the Jews, okay? So, see, this is during the Egyptian exhibition in Chicago. So, the nose is missing here. So, this is a pharaoh. So Jackson was a pharaoh.
It's beautiful, isn't it? There's another one. People looks like Michael Jackson, doesn't it? Think about it. I am not joking. It looks like Michael Jackson. And I've seen pharaohs that look like Michael Jackson. I wonder if there's some A-N-D backwards going on. A-N-D backwards is what? You know what it is, right? I wonder if there's some A-N-D going on in our lifetime. Because that looks just like Michael Jackson. At least if Michael Jackson that was transformed into that, maybe he was doing the Pharaoh thing, the Egyptian thing. Yeah, that's interesting that Michael Jackson would look like this at the end of his life. He's looking like a cross between black and Egyptian. Interesting, huh? If you put us side by side with Michael Jackson, you would get that, wouldn't you?
Michael Jackson here is wearing a gold outfit in order to give glory to the sun, the golden ritual. Then Prince did the same. So the musician Prince speaks on stage during the 2015 American Music Awards at Microsoft Theater. So Los Angeles, California. Prince, okay, so let me read this article from the New York Times, released on April 2016. So Prince says that the international net is over. So international, worldwide broadcast, internet, the, how can I say that? The national net, le filet de l'oiseleur, just like in Psalm 91. Think of Spider-Man with the net, so internet in reference to internet. And we know that the power source of internet comes from CERN. And the statue that represents CERN is Shiva, destruction. Okay, so let's read. Prince was born, first Prince was born in June 7, 1958 in Minneapolis, Minnesota. He died at 57, at 57 years old on Thursday. So Thursday, the day of Thor. Zeus, April 2016, from a fentanyl overdose in Paisley Park, Minnesota. And Parkwood, think of the word park. Park is very important. It was known, generally park well, before, at least, well, in the Bible, when the word park is referred, it's for the animals. Okay, it was a space for animals to be. But nowadays, the modern parks are for children. So it's like we now are the animals. But, well, so in this photo, Sea Prince is wearing a gold outfit. So he also has a cheetah, okay, cheetah print. So I will expand a little more about this animal ritual. So let's read. Around the time Prince, who had experimented with the online world in the 1990s, was emerging as an apparent enemy of the internet. In 2010, he told the Mirror, a British newspaper, that the internet's completely over, for which he was ridiculed online. He later clarified that this comment was about money that artists can earn online. What I meant was that the internet was over for anyone who wants to get paid, and I was right about that, he told The Guardian last year. Does that mean that the internet is a scam? Okay, so let's read. Of course, I Can Breathe. So the yellow once again. George Floyd, the head. Think of the pharaoh's head. And even when you look at this photo, think of the Olmec head, okay? So Black Lives Matter was a worldwide worship, a chant to demons in a form of a protest propaganda. So Black Lives, we're not talking about a skin tone, but instead we're talking about a spirit behind. So America on defensive worldwide over the murder of George Floyd in the United States. So on Sunday, thousands defied a government lockdown in Britain to march through the streets of London from the famed Trafalgar Square, past the Houses of Parliament, along and across the River Thames. And I do believe Thames is a place in Egypt, to the US Embassy, to protest the murder of an unarmed black man by white police, so black and white, in Minneapolis, 4,000 miles away, The New Yorker, June 2020. Yo, this is all made up. And I do believe the street that he was killed was Park Street, something like this. So once again, the word park. Okay, so let's read this. So Genesis 2:7, and the Lord God formed man of the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul. So we are referencing Egypt. So this is a book from Aleister Crowley. Okay, so I think it's important to mention that the United States was heavily inspired by Crowley's ideal. Okay, Crowley was responsible for the tarot cards, a lot of books, occult practices, a lot of knowledge in the occult. And he's also responsible for all these imagery that we consume, especially in American television. Well, I'm not going to say even American television, because I do believe television is worldwide. But the American culture only exists in television. And then we reproduce what we see on television. That's how we describe it. Okay, so see here the red cross, the triangle, okay, the sun. Okay, that represents le Levant, septentrion. The golden dawn ritual. Okay, so that's what we're talking about today. So here on the right, Giza Necropolis. Okay, Necropolis is a large design cemetery. So let's not forget that the pharaoh's head are tombs. Okay, tomb. So with tomb monuments in Greek, Necropolis means city of the dead. So when we see the Giza and all this stuff, that means this is literally dead demons. Okay. From above, the pyramids have 8 faces and are placed according to the sun and the stars, equinox d'automne. Okay, because in Babylon they do believe that to them mathematics and astronomy is their god. Okay, but in reality, how can you really study or measure God? So of course in the Greek, So Greek, Egyptian, Phoenician, all one religion. So see, the 8th star is the star of Ishtar. Okay. So see, it's like the heaven, earth, and the underworld. Okay, so 3 separation. Then these are like the pyramids. Then here you see Jupiter or Anu, sky of father, or Zeus, known as the protector of laws and the states. So home girl, so this is Rihanna posing. So the 3 pyramids, we see the trident. Okay, does that represent the trident? So she's posing for Home Girl X Puma, volume 14. So Home Girl, it's a word play. So c'est un homme, but at the same time it's a girl. Okay, so confusion. So Puma represents the Lion King. It represents a modified genetic being. It represents the prosperity of the serpent. And also what's interesting with the Barbados flag is the blue and the yellow color. There's a flag. I think it's Holland. Their flag is yellow and blue, just like this one. So it also represents the Marine Kingdom. Okay, so they're giving glory to the sun, of course. So this is Rihanna while pregnant performing on Sunday. So on Sunday, they give glory to Lucifer. So Sunday is actually the 4th day. Because when you look into creation, Genesis, you came to realization that on the 4th, well, from the 3rd to the 4th day, God created the sun, the moon, and the stars. He never mentioned any planets, okay? Because planets are an invention. Okay, so Rihanna was performing Lift Me Up, so giving glory to Satan. And this was from the movie Black Panther, Wakanda Forever at the Oscars. And I do believe the movie is about ancestors or demons. So the Golden Dawn is in reality giving glory to the sun. So once again, Rihanna or Inanna for Interview Magazine. So think of, in this photo, she's wearing a short Savage X. So think of the X, Fenty for fentanyl. On the left, on the right, you see this is Isis. So see her, she has also the Liber movement. So her breast is out. Okay, then you see the tattoo very clearly. She looks like a Marine, but at the same time, she looks like Hôtesse de l'air, or it's like we're not quite sure. So Isis, a Egyptian goddess. Okay, this is her sarcophage. And remember the passage that in the Bible that says to not write any dead, to not have tattoos of any dead on our bodies. Okay, but well, generally in the occult, they do tattoo themselves in order to communicate their appartenance, who they belong to. Then, of course, the worship of the sun. So think of the phoenix. Okay, it's like known as a mythical creature. So when you think of when we say the phoenix, we can also say the dragon. Okay, because what is a dragon? It's a beast. Okay, like intertwined with other stuff. Okay, it's like two people coming to, or two things or two creatures coming together. Now you have a dragon. So this is Aleister Crowley, Book of Lies. So in this book, he talks about the ritual. Mass of the Phoenix is a 4 daily sun worship ritual performed at sunset, also known as Liber or 44. And some people don't know that, but I do believe even in music, they use the number 44, HZ or hearts. Come on, say. Yeah. 44 hearts, and what that does is that this frequency makes you sad, it makes you depressed. Okay, so just imagine if they play a 44 hearts song on the radio, broadcast to worldwide broadcast. So that means that everyone will get in the mood, and So this ritual is found in the Book of Lies in chapter 44. So this book was published in 1913. So this is Crowley here. So his name is Edward Alexander Crowley, and he's known to be the Baphomet X. Facing page. Okay, what did Equinox publish? Okay, where? Okay. So Crowley moved to Sicily in Italy, where the population is made of 3 Phoenicians and dozen Greek colonies. During this time, converted the house into a sanctuary called Abbey of Telema, and wrote the Diary of Drug Fiend 1922 and was expelled from Italy 1923. Known as a writer, a astrologue, occultist, ceremonial magician, specialized in sexual ritual. So seeing the Sicily flag, see the Versace face, the face of destruction, Shiva, Lucifer, the sun god, and the colors are red and yellow. So also think of China, the colors of China. And what's interesting here too, think of the Israel flag. Okay, so see the triangle here, then another triangle, 6. It's like there are 6 colors. And I spoke of the blonde hair, the golden hair. Think of Fenty hair. So this is Aleister Crowley practicing the rites of Odysseus from the Golden Dawn, 1910. So he has the cheetah print once again. Now this is Crowley in the X pose. So X, think of Savage X Fenty. Okay, so Crowley. And to be honest, I did find a photo of like a version of Crowley, but more in the but a arabesque Crowley, okay, a woman that looked exactly like Crowley but as a woman, okay, and from Arabia. But honestly, okay, when you think of even the maps that was modified, or the concept, the invention of the 5 continents, now you wonder, am I looking at the US or am I looking at Egypt? Okay. So if you don't know this, I've covered this in the web series Babylon Hidden Site, available in gc1000boutique.com, or I've covered this in the episode titled Egypt or America. Okay, so see once again the Sphinx in Greater Cairo, the nose is missing. So this is exactly like the same attire, the hat, the X. So this is the book of the sacred magie. So see the sun here. So they're using the sun as their god. So the sun is like the worldwide religion. Think of the solar system. Think of Sunday as being now the 7th day of the week, when in reality it's the 3rd to 4th day of the week, from if we go back to Genesis. Then giving glory to the sun, think of when they dye their hair in blonde, okay, the blonde hair. This is another form of worshiping the sun. And when they go from blonde to silver, it's like the moon and the sun. So the blonde hair represents the sun, and the moon, and the white hair represents the moon. Okay, so Aleister was born in England on October 12th in 1987. I can't remember, in England. Okay. So he was known as the Great 666, the Beast. He was announced dead at 72 from a heart attack due to over drug use around December 1st of 1947. So see the pyramid, the eye here, giving glory to the sun, on the forehead as a hat, the form of a pyramid. So I found this image, Aleister Crowley and Catherine Mansfield from Mansfield, Me by Sarah. Okay, what? So this is like a story that someone told, and I thought it was interesting just to use it for this presentation. So this is Crowley. Come inside, my dear, enlightenment awaits you. And then she comes in, Catherine comes in with a tuxedo, lol. And then he says, of course, enlightenment requires a little assistance. And see, you have the star of Ramfan in a circle. Then you have X, X, X. So think of sex, pornography, extermination, all the X that is possible, Jews extermination. So see the women that are laid. and they kind of seem harmless, like very accessible. Okay, so this was published by VUP 2016. So this is literally how the ritual is taking place. So this is for the sex orgy ritual. Hashish and cannabis was taken for some kind of psychic revelation. This is the deception here. But instead it makes their body available to be inhabited. The effect is either lotus land, where you like over happy and delulu, or simply overthinking. So Crowley spent his life fighting health issues and died from a heart attack due to drug overdose. So of course, when you commit fornication, sexual immorality, let's say like that, use drugs, well, this lifestyle of course will bring disease. Okay, that's why God says, quand tu demeures en moi, when you live under my command, under me, inside of me, all these things, you get healed. Okay, in other words, you heal. So this was Rihanna Robin Fenty, Needed Me 2016 music video. So she's wearing a lingerie, she has a gun, and it says in the music video, and did you know that I'm a savage? Think of Savage X Fenty, the lounge.
Didn't I tell you that I was a savage? You
First of all, I would like to say you are glowing, and I can't tell, is it Fenty or is it the fact that you just had an amazing fashion show?
It's both, actually. Sorry collection, which I'm wearing right now. We have the male introduction to our brand, which I'm so excited about. We're collaborating with Christian Combs. So for the first time, we're gonna have boxer briefs, boxer shorts, and I mean, I'm not gonna say it's for men because I wear it too, but you know, I like to be flexible.
So many ideas that you could do and accomplish within a space like that, and we took advantage of all of those.
Oh, you sure did. But you know, you take it to next levels, and fans are going to be excited to see so much. But they're particularly going to be excited to see one steamy choreographed scene featuring you, darling.
Steamy, I was like,
you was Steamy Ree. What was it like doing that? You know, that was some sexy choreography.
It
your own.
Not easy in a corset. Let me just say that much.
I mean, but it is savage, honey.
I know.
So much evolution. We started off in Barclays. Then last year we even went to this beautiful hotel, super exciting location, really fun show, and we wanted to beat that. Last year was one of those shows that you had to beat it, and this year I feel like we did it. It was chaotic. We're outside. We're literally in the middle of nature. We hired snake wranglers. Like, it's serious out there, but we did it. It's beautiful. It's going to be worth it. This is going to be the show to beat for next year. Next year is going to be the real challenge. You know, keeping the show fresh.
So for the ritual, think of lingerie. So Aleister Crowley, 1987 to 1947, was trained by Samuel Liddell McGregor Mathers, a French occultist known to perform the ritual of Isis from the Golden Dawn. Okay, so see the Golden Dawn, Rose Cross Lamen. So this is not like the regular cross of Jesus Christ, but it's a whole other thing that involves mathematics. So you see the 5 stars, Star of Rampham, then you see the 6 stars, which they call the Star of David. Okay, so this is Samuel. So see the flower, he's wearing the cheetah print once again. It's not really clear, but hey. Then this is her Mona Matters, an Egyptian garb for performance of the rites of Isis in 1899. And the question you should ask yourself, is that a woman or is that a man? Okay, because they do also survey androgen gods, so neither male, neither female. And same goes for Aleister Crowley. He was also bisexual. So you don't know whether you're looking at a man or a female. So this was in Paris in 1899. So once again, the laundry. And what was interesting is that Aleister Crowley, the ideal of Aleister Crowley was blonde hair and the blue eyes. And of course, the first Playboy entertainment for men that was issued was in 1953, and they used the image of Marilyn Monroe. Gentlemen prefer blonde.
I'm a little torn. I think blondes may have more fun in life, but not with hair. Blonde hair is very stressful. Just keeping it healthy alone. Luckily, I have some tricks up my sleeve.
So Marilyn Monroe is not, I do believe Marilyn Monroe is not a real person, but instead she is just an image, okay? She was a case study. And also most of the playmates, or I would say all of the playmates, are probably men, okay? They dress as women, as bunny, but in reality these are men. So I thought it was interesting to bring this. So fourth studio cover for David Bowie. So fourth, think of the sun, the fourth day, okay? So, Hunky Dory, released by RCA on June 8th. August 6, 1971, recorded at Trident London Studio in London. So, Trident, think of Rihanna, the Barbados flag, the logo. So, okay, so let's read the lyrics of Quicksand. So, I'm closer to the Golden Dawn, immersed in Crowley's uniform of imagery. Okay, so all of these American imageries all come from Crowley. I'm living in a silent film portraying Himmler's sacred realm of dream reality. So he said that the true nation was blue eyes and blonde hair, and the reason he said that was because Jesus, who was the king of the Le Roi des Hébreux, the king of the Hebrew, he has hair like wool hair. He was in the color of Hérin, so like the Les Tentes de Kedar, okay, and then he had red eyes, so brown eyes or red eyes. So they just did the opposite. So it's like their way of being anti-Semitic, or their way to be anti-Jews. It's like a propaganda war, in other words. And that's why you see most of even black people, like real brown or Israelites, Hebrew, wear blonde hair because they don't realize that the blonde hair that they're wearing is against them. It's in reality self-hate. Okay, because they don't understand the meaning of the blonde hair, and they don't realize that they are the Israelites. So I'm frightened by the total goal, drawing to the rag hole. I ain't gonna power anymore. Okay, what? I'm twisted name of Garbo's eyes. Yes, living proof of Churchill lies. I'm destiny. I torn between the light and dark, where others see their targets. Divine symmetry, because their God is geometry. Should I kiss the viper's fang or erect loud death man? I'm seeking the quicksand of my thought, and I ain't got the power no more. Okay, what? So, of course, this is the statue of Marie-Louise Coy David, Christophe in Milo, Haiti, City of David, known as the City of David. So this is here in the middle. The nose is missing, of course. The mask, the breast, so Liber, okay. This is the abomination, okay, in the Holy Land. So she died, the former Queen Marie-Louise Christophe was in exile for 30 years and died in 1851 in Pisa, Italy. In Rome. Okay, in Italy. So I think it's interesting because she had a daughter called Athena. And what's interesting is that when she died, in 100 years later, the Statue of the Liberty came in New York. Okay, for a gift from France, Europe. And this is the depiction of Christophe Columbus, or Athena Columbia.
Y'all haters corny with that Illuminati mess.
So the blonde hair and the blue eyes. So it's literally Marie-Louise, but in a white face now, okay? And what's interesting is that Beyonce is depicting is the image of the white in a black face, okay? She represents sort of the queen. So here what you see on the left, so Exposition Universelle in Paris in 1889. So this was during the colonial conquest. So colonial, think of Columbus, think of Moloch. Okay, so what you see here, these are indigenous, so Israelites. Yeah, they literally put the cheetah garment, so they dress them as like savage. Here is the le colon with the hat, okay, the magician hat, the costume, the clown costume. And see the nose, huh? So Beyonce, she represents also le colon. She has also the necklace of Isis going down, and see her neck is covered. And generally the neck is covered because when men have la pomme d'Adam, they do, when they dress as women, they do like to wear high neck t-shirt, okay, in order to hide their apple. So the same hat, Aleister Crowley is wearing the same hat, magician hat. So this is the American Jewish singer and actress Barbara Streisand in a public city photo shoot for Hello Dolly, and think in 1969, and think of Dolly and Hello for hell. Okay, so she's like, it's like they're rebranding the image of the Jew with the thin nose, silk hair too.
Not sure, but it says, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. And that's why we have to armor ourselves with the tools that God gave us, which is prayer, the Holy Spirit, ask for discernment, and so on. Okay, so the concept of identity, okay, because I've explained that the American system was based on a game system, well, designed by Aleister Crowley and Hitler. It was based on a game system, using imagery, using sound, and there's nothing different with the serpent in the garden who seduced Eve with words, sound, and then when she was looking at the tree, she desired the tree because of what was said. Okay, but because remember, the tree was placed in the middle of the garden. So I'm pretty sure when they were looking for, quand ils allaient piger les fruits in the trees, they would pass by the forbidden tree. But it's only when the serpent came to Eve's ear that Eve perceived the serpent as good for food and that she disobeyed God. That's what we call seduction. So there's two tongues. The tongue of the seduction and the tongue of the truth. God said, if you eat of it, you will die. But the serpent says, if you eat of it, you will have the knowledge of God. You'll be like God. But the trick is, man is already made in the image of God. But the serpent is very wise because he knows that men, we are visual creatures. So he knows how to deceive. And the question would be, in what form did the serpent present himself to Eve back in the garden? Is it in the form of a serpent? Because God used the animals to describe certain characters. Just like when he says to the Christian, be wise as a serpent and innocent as a dove. Something like this. So in that case, the question would be, when God said the serpent, Satan, what was the form? And from Genesis to Revelation, the serpent transformed into a dragon. And when I mean dragon, there are many heads together. It's like gene mixing. Okay, so think of identity, the ID card system in big cities. We do use the ID card system. Whether you use your driver's license, whether it's a passport, the mugshot is important. And think of this as the Columbia system, les colons, Moloch, the system of Moloch. And so that means that photography becomes also a very big part of the system. Then when it comes to the name of the people, just like let's say Israel, Jacob, Esau, who was named Edom after, the names are tied to one's mission, to one's purpose, and sometimes to one's character. Just like when Adam named the animals in Eden. Okay, so another thing is the tongue when it comes to identity. So the tongue becomes important. By the language you can say, okay, you're an Israelite, you're this, you're that. When I hear someone speak Arabic, I'm like, okay, whether they're from Egypt or Africa, when I hear someone speaks Creole, they're from the Caribbean or from the islands, and so on and so forth. Okay, so, but in terms of the spiritual language, it's either you speak the language of truth or you speak the language of seduction, meaning the serpent. Then when it comes to prosperity, so identity, think of the prosperity, so the prosperity of the serpent and then the prosperity of the woman, which God used the woman to build his kingdom. Just like when Jesus was born, he was born from a woman's belly, from a woman's womb, in other words. And Satan does the same. Think back in Genesis when the flood happened. So the fallen angels made babies with women, fleshly women, which means that also the devil uses a woman's body in order to create Nephilim or to create his prosperity. But I'm pretty sure it comes in many forms, just like when the doll, the Barbie doll, which I spoke of earlier in the series, and the wax figure, the celebrities that you see in the museum, because spirits just need to inhabit things in order to operate on earth. Okay, when it comes to now photography, that becomes very important. So video and photography is the same. The only difference is that photography is still a still image and video is motion. Okay, so photography, what's important with photography is the principle of having an image. Okay, just right now, I'm presenting you an image and then I give a title to this image, a description. So let's say someone looks at this current frame. They would describe it as, okay, this is a woman wearing a green shirt, wearing all green. Someone will say, oh, this is a black woman, okay? So instead they're focusing on the skin of my color. Someone will say, this is an Israelites. Someone will say, oh, this is an artist. So depending on who's looking at the thing, there will be different description. And depending on the description, your perception will be built. For instance, if I present this photo, you've seen Mary with a very pale complexion, with a complexion roux, which is false. So we've built, just because we've seen Mary with a light complexion, we think that the Israelites are not la couleur des reins. Now and it's like someone doesn't have to explain it to you. It's just that you see it and the message, you absorb the message. Okay, I do have an example. So there was this story with a man going to the museum with his child. I think it was to the Met. I'm not quite sure which museum, but in New York. And they were looking at paintings of white men. I say white because, okay, white men on horses. So at some point the child asked his father, why is it that there is no like people like us on the horse? So just by looking at the image, he automatically a perception was formed. Okay, I don't know if that makes sense, but okay. So photography, in other words, is like architecture. It's an image, and to be honest, I sometimes wonder: is there a picture of Jesus that exists? Because how come they spent so much money, time, effort to sell this image of a false god, a androgyne, first of all, prosperity of the serpent, and a androgyne on the cross. They spent so much money on this, so that makes me sometimes wonder, is there a photography of Jesus? And some people don't know that, but photography means to capture the light. Light. It's a light game. It's a game of light, capturing the light. And if you're doing photography, especially film photography, you know how important light is. Exposing a film, hiding the film, developing the film, etc. And even the settings. Okay.
And now, as androgynous also. So Jew Jokes, okay, Little Giant, Jew Jokes, Cleveland, Arthur Westbrook Company, 1909, from the Dime Novel Collection. So they were mocking the Jews, okay, so Jews wearing a costume, the hat, okay, the wang. Think of Moses when he was in the desert, he has like a baton, so, and think of the nose too, because it's all about the nose. So this is how they used to draw like the nose of Jewish. So figure 1, figure 2, figure 3. So this is a Royal Anthropological Institute of Great Britain in Ireland, 1886. So this is a sketch by Joseph Jacobs to illustrate the Jewishness nose. A curious experiment illustrates the importance of the nostril toward making the Jewish expression. Artists tell us that the best way to make a caricature of the Jew nose is to write a figure 6 with a long tail. Now remove the turn of the twist as in figure 2, and much of the Jewishness disappears. It vanishes entirely when we draw a continuation horizontally as in figure 3. We may conclude that as regards the Jewish nose, that is more the Jewish nostril than the nose itself, which goes to form the characteristic of Jewish expression. Oh my God, what a study. Okay, so I thought that was interesting because see here in the middle you have, what's her name again? Lil Kim. Yes. So she has sort of the same story as Michael Jackson. So when she first came in the industry, she was totally black with a black nose, okay, or a Jewish nose. And then when the year passed it, then she just came back and she looked exactly like this, okay? So this is like a white mask. So we often think of the black face, but there's a white face, okay? Black and white, black hoodie, Ku Klux Klan being a black hoodie, white hood, black hood. So see the blonde hair giving glory to the sun. So the silver hair, so this is Carucci. This is the owner, the brand owner, the blondes. Lil Kim, Paris Hilton, the Claremont twins, and the others I don't know. Okay, so this looks like Cleopatra fashion. See also the tiger, see the cheetah print, the golden print, the breast for Liber, the bodysuits, the gold, okay, giving glory to gold, Versace, chaos. So the silver hair represents the moon and the gold hair represents the sun. Okay, so this was for during New York Fashion Week 2019. So once again, Shannon and Sinead once again wearing the cheetah print here. And this is the cheetah print seen in Black is King visual album of Beyonce released in 2020. So this is once again the cheetah print, and this is the think of Jurassic. It's like a Jurassic Park, okay? So here is the giraffe print, cheetah, zebra. Okay, so this was for Black is King visual album by Beyonce released in 2020 during the BLM. So this is Sarah Batman by Yves Flamand in the Golden Dawn Ritual Gal. So the giraffe print once again, and that looks like a cheetah print. Okay, this was published in 1889. So this is really a Hebrew woman, okay, or the depiction of a Hebrew woman. This is Beyonce, okay. So she has pregnant, okay, with the flower head, and for this occasion she had a baby shower. And this is see the Jurassic cheetah print, and this is her in the middle. Is that even a woman? Is that even a person? But this is so-called her in the middle with the blonde hair. So this was a baby shower with an African theme on May 27th. And African, think of Egypt is in Africa, okay? Do not forget that. So this is Rihanna performing. When she was 24 years old, offered her services as she gave the first live set in 2012 on Thursday, okay, Thor, Zeus, at the Staples Center in Los Angeles, the Los Angels, Fallen Angels. So the red garment, the cheetah prints in the back, Okay. Then this is her again in Elle magazine. Okay. Wearing purple. Here it's written, Rihanna on her new look and her new man. She's a new man. The subliminals are so whack. Sex, X. Beauty, think of beauty, Fenty Beauty. Or Savage X Fenty. Okay. And then, see, KOR jeans. Women in music, Beyonce, Christina Aguilera, Kesha, Alicia Keys. So they're probably all men, I guess. So she's wearing the cheetah print. So see what this was a Elle magazine cover shoot in July 2010. Then let's read about the cheetah. Okay, so what is that exactly? So it's a Mesoamerica, the Aztec jaguar warrior. Okay, it's a ritual sacrificial combat named Sacrificio Gladiatorio in Spanish. And as portrayed in the folio. So it's a ritual. I don't know exactly what it is. But see the bodysuit. Okay. This is the hat of des Amérindiens, comme ils disent. And then here, see the face. You don't know, is that a black man, a white person? The boots, the shoes, at least that are, that seems a little trop petit. And see the M. Think of Mario, think of Stalin, father of nation. And speaking of Mario, so Mario is an Italian plumber who lives in Mushroom's kingdom, so a kingdom of drugs.
This way, Mario! The princess lives right on that hill!
Council, your attention. Bowser has found the superstar and is headed toward our kingdom.
We are going to stop Bowser.
With his younger twin brother, Luigi. Their activities revolve around saving Princess Peach. And Peach, think of the ass Peach, just like the music of Justin Bieber. From the villain Browser, think of internet when you browse the internet. While using power-ups, Mario is distinguished by his big nose, okay, big nose and mustache, overalls, red cap, and high-pitched, exaggerated Italian accent. So the nose in reference to Jewish, okay? So Mario is a Japanese mascot character designed by Yoshi for Nintendo Entertainment System or Nintendo Family Computer, and first appeared in Donkey Kong in 1981. So once again, okay, the same ritual, the Golden Dawn ritual, the cheetah prints. So this was Rihanna for Interview Magazine, and she's wearing a Laquan Smith Dior and Saint Laurent tie-by, okay, photograph, okay, yeah. It was in June 10, 2019. So let's read this article by Daily Mail. So Rihanna showcased her incredible body. So think of na 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 new body, and see her hands between her two legs. So in her sheer leopard print jumpsuit for a sizzling Interview Magazine shoot, Rihanna wore sky-high patent black Mary Jane heels with green and gold-hued earring. The dark hair beauty painted her pout a deep red hue with coal-lined lids and touch of crowsy. Another images shown, okay, derriere and side boob in a green number of George's prostitution. So once again, Rose McGowan wearing a naked dress for MTV 1998 with, what's his name again? And he's wearing a cheetah print on the red carpet. See even the globe behind. I think it's Universal? No, it's MTV always. Okay. Yeah, Marilyn Manson. Yeah, Marilyn Manson. And it has the red hair. And think of Grace Jones, okay? When she was playing the clown, she had red hair and white face. So Prince, Cheetah Prince, Post Malone did the same during her music awards in 2018. Prince during the Super Bowl, February 2007. In Indianapolis, and Indiana, think of Indian. Think of the First Nation, the indigenous, the Israelites. The Cheetah movie, of course, Cheetah Girls. So the art cover of the Cheetah movie in 2003 and the one in 2005, produced by the Disney Channel. So once again, the Cheetah was seen during an interview from a influencer on YouTube. Did my body... Okay, well, because this woman, or at least woman, and I don't know, this person did a BBL that she said a Christian BBL, and that, oh my god, it was a whole thing on the internet. And think of Christian, Christ, but they do Christian Dior, Balenciaga, Christian Balenciaga, Christophe Colomb. They do like to play with the word Christ. So, Sophiology, why don't you like what I did with my body? Yeah, because you're a Christian. It took me years of practice to know what belongs to Sophia and what belongs to Sophiology, and separating the two. It becomes Black Mirror episode when you start merging. We're not working, we're being. Okay, that's weird. So think of the eclipse and see here in the back, purple. Okay. And she does the blonde, she does the black hair, the blonde hair. Then same, another influencer, Kira Ominix 2025 intro video on YouTube, Cheetah bodysuit. And this is the crown of Basquiat. Think of also of Rihanna. Okay, the trident. And of course, a painting was also made, titled Caresse, in 1896 by Fernand Nopoff. A symbolist depiction of the Sphinx. Think of Beauty and the Beast. Okay, so this is the Sphinx. So this is in the museum. From France, the Sphinx spread throughout Europe and was incorporated as décoration in the Vatican Palace, in the Loggia, the Upper Belvedere Palace, in Sanssouci Park, in La Granja in Spain, in Branicki Palace in Poland, in Queluz National Palace in Portugal, so all around Europe. So the Sphinx comes from Europe because the Romans served Satan, Santeria. So the Sphinx, so this is David Bowie wearing the chief adept tenue of the Golden Dawn, 1971. So this is the Sphinx pose and the X pose. And of course, think of Rihanna, Robin Fenty, when her book was coming out, her coffee book like. Okay, so she's wearing a cheetah dress. And this is from the music video Needed Me, okay? Because I think the Golden Dawn, they use lingerie, they use drugs. And we know that Rihanna, Fenty, fentanyl, cannabis, Juana. Okay, and also it's made for sex orgy, okay? So let's read from this music video, well, from this music song. So, but baby, don't get it twisted. You were just another A-list, trying to fix your inner issues with a baby. Didn't tell you that I was a savage. If you were a horse in a carriage, but you never imagine. Never did it have you needed me. To feel a little more and give a little less. Know you hate to confess, but baby, oh, you needed me. So in this music video, she has the 3 pearls. Okay, pearls represent beauty. And think of Haiti, known as La Perle des Antilles. She's wearing also a, I believe it's Africa, or what they call Africa. Okay, she has a lingerie. Her breasts are out. See the Isis. And also the cyan blue color, in reference to the Statue of Liberty coming from the sea. Okay. So let's read this. So Astro World. America is Beauty and the Beast. So Beauty, think of Athena, and the Beast, think of the system in itself. Satan. So sleep versus dream. The American dream only exists to those who are asleep. Just like Martin Luther King, the dream is not in the land of abomination. Gas chambers during the reign of Hitler were used to kill Jews. Metropolis, also known as Babylon City, where they serve Moloch, which is the image of the beast. Okay, so let's continue. So in the music video, so one of the scene, breathe out, breathe in. So breathe out. So you see the image of a starship. A starship is a satellite. And think of the word star. What is a star? A star is a trance. So whenever you see this image, because remember, there is water above, just like mentioned in Genesis. God separated the waters above from the water below, meaning that this invention of planets is simply an invention, deception. Instead of looking at the firmament, the heavens, let's look at under the water, okay? Think of the star of the sea stars, just like in SpongeBob with Patrick Star. So they give you this illusion that they're in heaven, but in reality, they are in the deep, in the ocean. Okay, so let's talk of Columbia. So Columbia is the main system that we look, well, it's the main imagery system, I should say. So Columbia Pictures and Columbia and Sony are one. Columbia represents Christophe Colomb, Moloch. It represents also the sun god. So see the torch. And also the colors that are very important is the yellow dress, giving glory to the sun, and the blue giving glory to the deep. Then Columbia is partnered with Sony Pictures Entertainment. So just keep that in mind. And Sony is known for their electronics like radio electronics. And Columbia is known for the broadcast system, just like CBS. And think of the Queen Elizabeth. Yeah, they're basically the ones who broadcast the image, and Sony would be the one who broadcasts the sound.
Speaking of photography, a movie that I need to mention is Day Live 1988. So from still images to moving images, and from moving images to live images, broadcasting something live. Okay, so Day Live is a movie that was released in 1988, produced by Universal Studio. And I've talked about the fact that Universal Studio is Saturn, in other words, Universal City. Think of the Universal Park and etc. So a scene that was interesting in the movie that you will see later is the scene where the character takes sunglasses and he reads on a billboard. So the billboard is like advertising encouraging people to come and travel to the Caribbean. But then when he put on the glasses, it's the hidden message behind was marry and reproduce. So in other words, in this scene, okay, you see how you see an image, but there are a lot of subliminals behind it. So yes, you see the image, but the image is saying something. Just like the example that I give with the children going to the museum and seeing all these paintings with white men on horses, and not seeing couleur de rein on horses. Okay, so also this movie or these scenes portray how Satan in the last day has dominion over the communication system. When you think of dominion, think of domain. Even the internet, when you buy a domain, okay, that's the same principle. So www, think of the trident, W. But anyway, so he has dominion over the communication system. And think of the filters, think of the mask, think of makeup, think of wigs, think of all these accessories that we use before putting someone in front of a camera. And even like the live settings, when you think of the filters that even you can use on Instagram. And Instagram has the infinite logo, the 8 logo, Ocean 8, etc. So, okay. So also one thing with the Caribbean, okay, so there's also a wordplay. So Caribbean, the 2B are 88. The 8 door, think of the door Ishtar, think of also the logo, which I've explained in Eclipse, previously in the previous episode, Eclipse, being intertwined, okay? And I would like to maybe talk a little more about this logo. So think of being intertwined, the water above and the water below, okay? Because that's a goal, to have the communication system is made of underwater satellites, so water above, and the water below, think of the firmament. No, wait. Undersea, there are the cable, the internet system, internet cable, and above in the firmament, you have the satellites they use to broadcast imagery and sound, etc. Okay, that makes sense. And also, of course, because there's water above, now when we think of what is a planet, it's not what we think it is. A planet is more like une sonde. C'est une sonde that broadcasts sounds. And I guess they use the satellites to broadcast this to our TV and etc. I'm not an expert in that field, but I think it makes more sense. So when you think of the movie such as Ocean 8 or yes, Ocean 8, that means they have dominion over the communication system. They have dominion, meaning that they have their system above, the system below, and now they're running the billboards, they're running the radio, the waves, the internet, etc. So it's sort of like World War III. Okay, so they have the sea, they have the firmament, and now they have sort of their domain on Earth, because everyone is asleep. Everyone is tied to a black mirror, to a screen, to a black screen, which is okay. God can still work through that, but that's the architecture behind. And also think of Rihanna, so the trident, the Barbados flag, the trident that comes, and think of the colors, the blue and the yellow. The yellow in reference to Lucifer, the blue in reference to Dagon. But Lucifer, another name that God calls Lucifer, is the star of Remphan. Remphan, the star of Remphan. So Lucifer and Dagon being intertwined, okay? And think of Lucifer as the solar system. And since there's water above, the planet system, the thing of solar system does not exist. It's more of a visual that wants to mold your thoughts in other ways. Visual into architecture. Okay. And also when you think of the color yellow that you see in the Barbados flag, well, let me say this, the Barbados flag is exactly the same flag as the Ryswyk, which is located in Holland in the Netherlands. So it's literally the same flag, but it's just that the direction has changed. But it's literally the two colors. In between you have the yellow. And yellow, think of blonde. Blue, think of silver, which is tied to the moon. And the moon, we're not talking about them going to space. No, we're talking about the underwater. It's like a subliminal to say that now they have dominion over time, over time in relation to Saturn. But I do have more explanation about that in my Babylon Hidden Site web series that is available in jcmilboutique.com. Okay, and now think of that. So you have the star of Remphan in the firmament. Think of the golden sound, the golden voice, the golden disc, Columbia Records. Now think of Poseidon, the trident, the underwater cables, the internet cables, the web. Okay, now when you combine both, okay, so you get the eclipse. So it's like Star of Remphan with Dagon, then you get the dragon. Okay, and who is the image of the dragon? We're talking about China. We're talking about Babylon, Mesopotamia, beyond 2 rivers, the land of Shinar, the land of China, in other words. Speaking of China, I think it's important to mention something. So remember the story about Christophe Columbus? Okay, so Columbus, in other words, is Moloch, which you will see later in that episode. Moloch, and Christ, in reference to Christ, Ophe, now Columbus, Columbia, the bus, the yellow bus, Colon, Moloch, the dove, but in reality it's all deception. And Christophe Columbus is depicted with blonde hair, blue eyes. So he is the image of Colombia. He was personified as Colombia. So Beyonce, Obama, all are Colombia, depicting Colombia. And that's why also most people are celebrities. When they go in interviews or etc., they often mention Beyonce because she is Colombia. She represents Colombia. And think of England, think of the Queen Elizabeth, okay, Colombia, BBC, CBS, Columbia Broadcast System. It's all a system, ID system.
Yeah. Okay, so I thought it was interesting to... Okay, so remember when I spoke of war, World War I, so maybe they're fighting under the sea. World War II, the land war. And then World War III would be in the air. Or it's not in particular order, but it's just to give an idea of the different types of war. Okay, so I took the logo of some of the Space Force. So this one is, the one on the left is the United States Space Force. And remember, Satan is the prince of power of air. And during the last days, the powers will come together. Okay, so that's why in Revelation 13, it says that the beast had 7 heads and 10 horns. I can't remember exactly the verse, but yes. So this is the United States Space Force within the Air Department, founded in 2019. So just before 2020, the I Can Breathe. So their motto is always above, which is a lie because Satan was cast off from heaven, but that's okay. And the shape of the triangle looks like the spaceship. And this is Jupiter. You see the serpent around the globe, and the globe is a representation of a system without God because the globe has no columns, which I spoke of in my web series Babylon Hidden Side. Then here is Japan Space Force within the Air Department. It was founded in 2020. So see the colors. You also see the Russian colors for some reasons. Wait. Okay, no, I'm sorry. So this is the Russian Air Force, and this one on the left, on the right, is the Japan Air Force, Koku. Okay. So see the spaceship, the colors of the flag. Also, we have the phoenix with 2 heads. Then Japan, we have the 4 direction, which were changed. And now we have the X. Okay, so it's not only just Saturn. Now you have an X. Okay. And also the globe is also the internet logo. Okay, so I thought it was interesting. So since we are talking about spaceship, okay, the illusion that they give of being in heaven. So let's look at this image right here from the Astroworld concert that happened in Houston, Texas by Travis Scott in 2021, just after 2020. So see all the cameras. Okay, so here it looks like a mouth or a pyramid. And then the inside looks like a mouth. And that reminds me of the mouth of a snake. Then see the fire, you have 8 fire. And 8, just think of the Port of Ishtar with 8 columns. No, the 8th door, I should say. Okay, so also this concert, I believe at some point people were not able to breathe. Okay, so it was reported that the artist in this scene, Travis Scott, he started a song, and that song in particular had a certain sound or frequency, and at that very moment people were not able to breathe. It was chaos. Okay, so think of Sony Music. So it's not only the imagery, it's also the sound, the frequency. There's a science behind. Okay, so also you see the eyes. Okay, the eyes of Horus, the evil eye. Then also this was the album cover for Astro World. It was released on August 2018. So see the children, see the head, and think of the Olmec head, the head of the Olmec. Also think of George Floyd, I Can Breathe. Okay, so Starship here, you see the kids because they're targeting the kids. And this looks like a fête foraine. See here, it's written the world. The kid is wearing all-star shoes, the Converse, Star of Remphan. Okay, so let's see the titles on this album. So Stargazing, Carousel, Sicko Mode, RRP, Screw, Stop Trying to Be God, No Bystanders, Skeletons, of course, because we're dealing with 1988 Day Live, Wake Up, 5% Tint, NC-17. Okay, Astro Thunder, and think of when Satan was cast out from heaven, Luke 10:18. Yosemite, Can't Say Who, What, Butterfly Effect. So butterfly meaning transformation, Coffee Bean. And I always wonder, like, is there anything with the coffee? What is it with coffee? And I can't stop thinking of Starbucks. Whenever I go, Starbucks is like the place people go. And coffee in general, I think there's something about this. Okay, so of course, I thought it was interesting to bring this photo. So Highest in the Room by Travis Scott. So this was released as a single on October 4th, 2019, just before BLM, Black Lives Matter. So see, remember, Satan was cast out from heaven. So whenever you see when they reference highest being high, it has nothing to do with being in heaven, but instead we're talking about the deep, the Black Sea. So see, there's a passage in the Bible, because of course Satan is a copycat. So there's a passage in the Bible where God tells the story of Jacob. So he left his father's house to get to a place. I can't remember the name of the city exactly. So he went, but the sun was down, so he had to stop in midway, and he put a rock and slept on the rock in that specific place, okay? And when he fell asleep, he saw a vision or a songe where he saw angels of the Lord coming up and down from an échelle, okay? There was an échelle, something like this. So then God spoke something to him, and then he said, wow, I'm currently at the door. This is the door in which, this specific place is the portal to the sky, to heaven, to God, okay? Okay, so the story is in Genesis 28. Let's see. Okay, so the place he went to was Padan Aram, okay? So he was looking for a wife, but during so it was in Canaan, basically, okay? Jacob went to Canaan. So, and Jacob went out from Beersheba and went toward Haran. And he lighted upon a certain place, and tarried there all night, because the sun was set, and he took of the stones of that place, and put for his pillow, and lay down in that place to sleep. And he dreamed, and behold, a ladder set up on the earth and the top of it reached the heaven. And behold, the angels of God ascending and descending on it. And behold, the Lord stood above it and said, I am the Lord God of Abraham, thy father, and the God of Isaac. The land whereon thou liest, and thee will I give it, and to thy seed. Okay, so then Jacob awake out of his sleep, and he said, surely the Lord is in this place, and I knew it not. And he was afraid and said, how dreadful is this place? This is none other but the house of God, and this is the gate of heaven. Okay, so this passage is in Genesis 28, starting at 10. Okay, so they're doing exactly the same, but let's be honest here. Satan was cast out from heaven. Okay, and what's interesting is that in this ladder, you see a fire. So there's a fire. It's like the communication with God is broken, okay? Or at least it's slowly burning. And here, it seems like he's smoking. Okay, so I thought it was interesting also to talk about the Babel Tower, because the ladder, think of when the people were building the tower, they wanted for the tower to go to heaven. So, of course, Satan is a copycat and he's mocking God. So this is a 3D model of the Babel Tower. See the starship above. So on the right, this was from the scene Metropolis 1927 by Fritz Lang. So this is the Babel Tower. Okay, the movie's happening in Babylon. The tower has 5 heads, just like the Santeria, or just like the Dagon, okay, the image that I presented from Beyonce with the 5 horns, the father of the sea Dagon, and even the 5 star points, even the logo of the Olympics. So see the 5 here, and think also of the Pentagon. Okay, think of and the Pentagon is basically a army base located in the desert, and they're responsible for the satellites in the firmament, okay? And when it comes to the sea, okay, the internet cables, because they're located in the sea, this is something else, okay? Okay, so the 5 stars. So what's interesting, so on the top, okay, it's the communication array. So think of the satellites. So the satellites above gives communication to this tower, and this tower broadcasts the information to the people. And at the bottom, see the workers' habitation. Think of Metropolis, okay, when they went down in the deep, okay, this is where the workers lived, and the master of the city lived on top. Okay, so then you also have residential sectors, and think also of the condo you see today in major cities. When you live at the bottom, well, you get less lights, okay? Also, if there's a leak above, you will be affected. Then it's less expensive, but when you go on top, it's more expensive. You get better lighting. So it's like a sort of classification, a social status classification. But they're still in the same body, the same construct, the same condo. So if anything happens, everyone will suffer in this building. And of course, this relates to the work of Aleister Crowley, because Aleister Crowley is a very important figure when it comes to American imagery. So this is the Baphomet, the reverse star. I don't quite understand all the symbols, but that reminds me of Fendi. That reminds me the Egyptian. There's something the Egyptian always hold. Then this is the M or W. This is the trident. Yeah. Okay. And what's interesting too, see, I spoke of the color yellow and the blue. So on the right here, it says the yellow sector for business area. There's a green sector for the middle class living area. And then the blue sector is for the production area. So think of the blue like undersea, underwater. Think of the green like the land. And think of yellow as the sun. Okay, so of course, so Metropolis, they had the same. And think of the ladder once again, okay? The ladder going on top, being high, the ladder. But in terms of when the devil say being high, it has nothing to do with being enlightened by the Spirit of God, the Holy Spirit, but instead with the spirit of the deep. So this was a scene, once again, Metropolis. So this is when the workers were working. So see here, there's a ladder, or at least there are stairs to go on top to the machine. And then the machine just transformed. It's like the person, the son of the master, went to see the workers, and he had a vision, a songe. He saw the machine transform into this beast, and Moloch, in other words. And then the workers were taken above and sacrificed. And also think of that, okay? In cities like Metropolis or New York, big cities, they don't care about the Sabbath. Everything is open 24/7. But God commanded that even your servant won't be able to, don't work during the Sabbath. Your children, it's like the Sabbath is for everyone. But in that case, when we think of the mark of the beast, because the Sabbath is the mark of God for the seventh day, but in terms of the beast, there's no Sabbath, okay? You work hard. That's the mentality. So you don't depend on God. Now you depend on your own understanding. So, and also the Jews that are taking up, they're bald. And think of that, reminds me of Kanye West did a fashion show. He took many popular faces, influencers. They were all bald. They had clothes that are the skin color clothes. So they look like slave, in other words. And they were not paid to be there. So I think this was a reference to Jews' extermination. So, of course, Moloch comes in different shapes, different forms. So think of the tower who gets the signal or give the signals to the televisions, to the phones. So going to Toronto, the CN Tower in Toronto. Think of Drake, the artist Drake. So he has this brand title that is called OVO. So see the OVO, okay? The OVO, just like Moloch, see? It's just a play. Then, of course, what you look here is, what you're looking at is Colombia in another form. So this could be the, how do you call it? The horns. Then here the CBS logo, it's also a owl. Then the Columbia disc sound effect. There's an owl, there's music. Of course, I need to bring this tower once again. This is an owl. See the V, then the O for the eyes. Okay, so this is literally what we're looking at is a casino in Lisboa in Macau, China. And I spoke of the fact that Asia, the American, well, the 5 continents is a European ideal. But in reality, there are 3 continents. So Asia, Africa, and Europe. And it was divided among the sons of Noah. So that would mean that America in reality would be Asia. Okay. So that's why also I've heard, okay, if you look online, you search Christophe Colomb, they say that, oh, Christophe Colomb thought he was going to Asia, but he was now in the Antilles. Okay, but they're literally revealing that America is Asia. Okay, so of course the owl, once again, Moloch. So this is Moloch again. So think of the Bohemian Club. So see here the papal. Okay, this is a European invention, in other words. And they sacrifice their child to these. And this is Queen Elizabeth II holding the Golden Globe. Okay, she's the face of Colombia, CBS News. And she's holding the globe reversed. And this tower with the time represents Roman time, the Roman Empire, because Europe is Rome, in other words. So you have Italy, Russia, l'Allemagne, France, etc. Okay, so this is Aleister Crowley. He was an England men. So Edward Alexander Crowley, born in October 12, 1987, also known as the Great 666. Frater Perdurado, the Beast. So he was an English occultist, a poet and novelist, Aleister Crowley. And this is a photo of Aleister Crowley bathing in the spring of the lower Baltoro Glacier during his 1902 expedition to climb K2 in the Himalayas. So this is literally a ritual they're doing. So here he has a black face. He honestly looks like an animal. He looks possessed, definitely. Yeah, and when we say expédition, okay, in Creole, when we say, gomoun qui font expédition meaning a ritual, okay? And also this photo here, this is a representation of Aleister Crowley. This is how they do his caricature, and he looks exactly like an alien, a being from somewhere, a being from elsewhere. So going back to Colombia, okay? So Colombia, reverse is Moloch, Christophe Colomb, it's the same thing. So this is Kurt Russell playing the role of Snake in the movie Escape from New York 1981, okay? So he has the pirate look. And what's interesting is that in this movie, they say, oh, Snake, I thought you were dead. Now you're alive. And this is in reference to the Revelation 13, the beast, his deadly wound was healed. Okay, so Snake, the Columbia, okay, Astroworld. So this is the tarot card of the devil. Okay, this is the devil. This is the Moon Child by Aleister Crowley again, because all of this is the imagery of Aleister Crowley, what we see here. So, anti-Jews, it has to do with the blonde hair, the blue eyes, the opposite of what an Israelites look like. A cover of a book written by Pamela Shepard called The Fake Jesus, the Alien Invasion of the Apostate Church. And when we think of alien, we think of that just right here, okay? Just like Aleister Crowley. But an alien, in other words, is a demon, okay? Because think of the prosperity of the serpent back to Eden when God cursed the prosperity of the serpent. Okay, so this book was released on June 26, 2023. And see the serpent here, okay? Going to his private part, just like the Baphomet here. Above, below, but above meaning under the sea. And below meaning under the sea, and above meaning the land. Because Satan do not have access to heaven. So this is once again the image. So this is all Aleister Crowley's ideal. So this is the same Columbia. The captain from SpongeBob is Columbia. SquarePants generic first premiered on May 1999 by Nickelodeon. So Columbia Pictures, they're selling the image of the beast. So it's going to the sea. And think of also of the Mona Lisa. It's like the same thing because Mona Lisa is like a trance. It's a man and a woman. And this is, of course, the same representation with Madonna, the blue eyes, blonde hair, the golden dawn ritual. Kylie Jenner did the same. In other words, Barbie is the tool of war for Hitler. Okay, so Kylie Jenner Barbie costume for Halloween on October 31st, 2018. And the necklace that she's wearing, it's like Saturn. Okay, it's the sun and the moon intertwined. Then here, it's a Japanese reproduction of China dolls from mid-20th century. So why is it that American culture is so obsessed with Chinese culture? Because it's Asia here, okay? So we have India, China, Japan. Okay, so the blue eyes, the very thin eyebrows, but now they have this trend with the thick eyebrows. But even for Haitian cultures, they were wearing the thin eyebrows. So then Black China, okay? This is just Black China, okay? So her name is Angela White, Hollywood or persona. Another player, in other words. So this is a Black China during an interview with Revolt, okay? And see the colors behind the blue, okay? Then the pink, the purple, and she has the short hair. Okay, so this is China dolls from 1850 to 70, exhibited in Fairbanks Museum, Planetarium in Vermont. Planetarium. So once again, okay, so from blonde, black, okay, this is the same, goes with the statue of Marie-Louise once again. This is Colombia, okay, Christophe. So this is statue of Marie-Louise, Co-David, Christophe in Milo, Haiti. So the nose is missing because, of course, the identity of the Jew is now being changed. Okay, this is now the new world. The blonde and the blue eyes, the Hitler ideal, the Aleister Crowley's ideal. So this is the Christophe Columbus they sold. Okay, blue eyes, blonde hair. Okay, so also Colombia is Christophe. Colombia is the same thing. It's Christophe. Okay. And what's interesting is that so-called Marie-Louise Coy-David Christophe, she went in exile to Italy. Maybe because Italy is her homeland, okay? Because we're talking about the Roman erasing the Jews. And they start with imagery. So now you see all the Hebrew, the black women with blonde hair, or the black men with blonde hair. And when I say black in that case, I'm not talking about the spirit behind, but what we call black as skin color, the brown, the Hebrew. So what's interesting with also Christophe Columbus is that he's known to have done 4 travel, but there are 3 paths. He used 3 paths. So the first, he went to the Bahamas, Cuba. Then, he went to République or Hispaniola, okay, deuxième voyage. Then, he went to troisième voyage to Trini Martinique. And then he came back again with the same road he did the first time, par la République, Haïti. Okay, so remember, when you look online, people said that Christophe Colomb wanted to go to Asia, but he ended up in Les Antilles. Because this is Asia.
Okay, so just like in the music video Hold Up, or not Hold Up, but Formation, Beyonce is depicting Christophe Colomb, les colons who came into the land of India, okay? She depicts slavery. So Christophe Colomb was known to go to, he did les explorations. And if you look into the internet, he thought he was going to India, l'Occident, India. But then the story says he appeared in the Caribbean, okay? And before the Caribbean, well, in the old world from the Bible, the Caribbean is known as Les Îles, okay? It refers to as Les Îles. This is the main name of the Caribbean. And, okay, so Les Îles. And the French, the European, Edom, okay, so brother of Jacob, they renamed the island as Les Antilles, or the Caribbean. But what people don't know is that the word Antilles means anti-île, anti-île. So anti-island, that means X. They want to kill the people in these islands. But the question you should ask yourself is, who were the people in these islands? Des indigènes. I know that a lot of people, when they Google Haiti, okay, most of Haitian, because I'm Haitian, Hebrew, of course, but when they Google Haiti, they search and they realize that, oh, the Taínos, which were indigènes, but the names were changed over the years. And of course, the goal is to lead people astray. So if the name changes, the name of the language changes, I present you an image that is false, I do propaganda. So at some point, you sort of lost your identity. But God is so good that the truth is always in plain sight. Sometimes people see, but they don't. And they hear the truth, but they don't hear it. But when God gives you discernment, you see this play all, like you see so clearly that you're like, how come I've never noticed? Just like Amérindien, Mère Indien, 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 Indigène, First Nation, because God loved Jacob, but he hated Esau. So in other words, Jacob was the chosen nation, and Jacob didn't do anything to deserve that. God just chose, just like when you choose a wife, you choose a bride. So that's literally that. So Christophe Colomb in reality came to India. So India means en Dieu. So the Caribbean in reality is the people living in dans les îles were Hebrews, les Indiens. And that's why in the Constitution haïtienne you see it's written l'armée indigène d'Haïti, because indigène means India. Okay, but I will make a video about the maps that were changed, or maybe I'm gonna have a document available for you to download. I'm not sure how I'm gonna do that, so that is yeah, to make this more clear. But yeah, it's something that really takes time, but I'll get into it. Okay, so what's important, okay, is to know that in the 17th century, so in this 160, anyway, dans les années 1600, okay, French, this is easier. So there was this company that was founded that is called the Dutch West India Company. So now you're like, it was founded in 1621. Yeah. So this company was known to ship slaves. Okay, it's the commerce des slaves. So think of the Triangle des Bermudes. So from Europe to Asia to Africa. Okay, so that's a triangle because there are 3 continents: Africa, Europe, and Asia. And these were divided among the sons of Noah after the flood. So the Triangle des Bermudes, think of that. So America is really just fiction. Okay, it's fiction. So Triangle des Bermudes, so the Dutch company was founded, and that marks the time that slavery started. Now, 400 years later, because God told Abraham, your people, your descendant will be slave in a country they don't know, okay? That is not theirs. And I guess it's Canaan. I guess maybe it's Egypt. Okay, so 1621 marks the date, well, the year of the start of slavery. Now, 400 years later, ça nous donne 2021. 2021. Now think about it. So in 2019, we had the COVID-19, okay, the virus, corona virus. And corona, think of the crown, corona, crown. Then we had in 2020 the BLM protests, so Black Lives Matter. And when we say black, we're not talking about a skin color, but instead we're talking about the darkness that we knew of in Genesis. Chaos, void, emptiness, evil spirits above the pit. Okay, then 2021, quarantaine, so 40. And remember when the Israelites had to flee Egypt? So when they flee, they stayed 40 years in the desert. So quarantaine, quarantine, 40. And now in 2021, what's interesting is that, okay, so you will see a map. I don't know if I've introduced it, but there is a map where you see all Quebec, okay, from the Hudson Bay, Quebec to the US near Florida. C'est toutes des réserves indiennes. It's all indigenous living here, or maybe it's a prison for the indigenous. And then you see there's Spain, and then see here you will see Florida at the bottom, but it's like le reste des États-Unis, le sud, the south. Okay, so I think that's interesting. And speaking of the Hudson Bay was founded in around the same years as West India Company, the Dutch West India Company, and this is the oldest company that exists in Canada, the oldest. And what people don't know is that yes, they have clothes today. We shop here. There are brands like the Vêtements de Marque, but they used to sell slaves. And this company is an emblem of slavery. Is the emblem of slavery. But what's funny is that now, 400 years later, today, la Baie du Son est en train de faire faillite. They're closing their stores. Stores are closing. So there's a verse that says, God delivered Israel from bondage. So now he recommends Israel not to go back to bondage because it is possible to be free and then act as a slave and going back to bondage. Just like the people of Israelites did when they went to the desert, they were still worshiping statues and committing abomination that the Egyptian taught them. And by the way, the Egyptian are de couleur d'airain. They have the same color as the Israelites. Okay. Okay. Netherlands, I said that. Okay. So Christophe Columbus, also remember, comes from Spain, they say. But I do believe he represents, he has the face of Edom, but in reality, it's a black spirit. It's not even Christophe Columbus represents a spirit. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, he represents a spirit. Just like the statue of Marie-Louise in Haiti.
Okay, so the three ways are very important because think of the Adidas logo with the 3 lines. Think of Basquiat, okay, when he does the E with 3 lines. Think of the Tesla logo with the 3 lines. Think of the Trident, okay, by Rihanna. But not by Rihanna, but the Trident we see in the Siren movie and also in the Barbados flag. So this is just a representation, okay? This is a representation of Maku, okay? Maku, known as a free port in China. Their principal trading partner is the US and Hong Kong. Okay, they supplies food and inexpensive goods. They exports textile. So think of everything made in China, even Shein. They imports raw materials or semi-finished goods for manufacturing purposes. The overall economy is sustained by tourism and gambling. Okay, the service sector dominates the economy since there are few natural resources, except fish in the Pearl River. Think Pearl River. Pearl River. And I've brought up this ritual they do called the FFing ritual, where people are sirens and they're carrying Nephilim's baby. And Pearl, think of La Perle des Antilles. So the population is mainly Buddhist, meaning Indian, indigenous Israelites of Chinese and Portugal ancestry. Here in North America, I remember when I was younger, things were like, okay, made in Canada, made in Quebec, whatever. But now everything changed. Now everything is made in China. But is it that the manufacturer changed, or is it just the branding that changed? So same product, but it's just the branding that changed. That should be an indication that we're probably in Asia in reality. Okay, so the overall economy is sustained by tourism and gambling. So think even here in Canada, loterie, okay, lottery. Think of Bitcoin and trading, okay, the trading's a form of gambling. Think of playing cards, the casino, playing sports, it's a form of gambling, okay, playing sports, because it's all game. It's like literally a game system, in other words, okay, the Aleister Crowley's ideal. So what I thought was interesting is that even in this music video, Robin, in You Need Me, so she's wearing a pearl necklace with 3 étages. So I thought that was pretty interesting. And remember the golden dawn ritual? This is the casino that we see. So the casino is like located, the big, let's see, okay, wait. The big casino is seen by everyone, the statement of the city. So see here, and also people are living one on top of the other. You just imagine if fire comes, or if there is a tremblement de terre, or anything, like this will all crumble in like 2 seconds. So people are living on top of each other, just like they're designing today. I do feel like most of the images we see from China are fictional image in order to tell us what the major cities would look like in the future. It's like a projection. Okay, so this is the flag, okay, their flag of Macau, China. So the 5 stars. Then that looks like a lotus flower. And this would be the underworld, I guess. Okay, so this is the map also. See the 3 lines here. Okay, so I think it's interesting. Macau Airport. So it's really an island. So you go down there. Okay. So, of course, the yellow is important. The Pearl River. Wow. Wait, where is the Pearl River exactly? So the Pearl River would be somewhere like here. Okay. So that reminds me of the music video Hold Up from Beyonce. Okay, when she came out of the museum and then water followed, she was dressed in yellow, giving glory to the sun, a marine spirit. Now having so-called, well, not really dominion, but walking the earth, okay? And of course, this is once again Colombia, also known as Athena, the awakening depicting Colombia and the universal suffrage movement. And this is by Henri Heimeyer, published in Puck magazine, on January 1915. So this is Beyonce is signed to Columbia Records and Sony Broadcast, Parkwood. And I do believe Columbia Records belongs to Japan, if I'm not mistaken, or China, something like this. And this is from, this is from her Lemonade studio album, Lemon. And of course, I need to bring Michelle Bennett, also giving glory to Colombia, the dragon, also known as the Dragon Lady. And what is the definition of a dragon lady? Let me read that to you. So just notice first she's wearing a yellow dress and see the black and white chest floor, okay, representing duality. Then you see French paintings in the back. See the piano. Okay, a lot of symbolism. She has a dog. Okay, so dragon lady is usually a stereotype of certain East Asian and occasionally South Asian or Southeast Asian women as strong, deceitful, domineering, mysterious, and often sexually alluring. Okay, so that is the definition of a dragon lady, okay? In reference to Asia, because this is Asia. Oh, Seigneur. Okay, so this is her at the Villa d'Accueil in Bordon-Port-au-Prince. So this is, of course, giving glory to Athena. Okay, so remember, so Michelle Bennett was in exile. When she went in exile, she went to Paris. Okay, so see, Marie-Louise Coy-David, Christophe went to Italy, and Michelle Bennett went to Paris. Okay, so the European ideal. Okay, so What's interesting is that Coy David Marie-Louise had a daughter called Athénaïs. And then here is the Athena in New York, okay, Liber. And remember, the Haitian flag, at some point, their flag was saying Liberté ou la mort. Because Haiti is known as the land of liberty. They were independent, meaning independent from the rest of the world because it's God's land. But when the Roman came, everything changed. Okay, and also Michel Bennett was known to bring the Pope II, and Mère Teresa in the Holy Land. Okay, and also I've mentioned this, but when Marie-Louise died in 1851, the Statue of Liberty appeared to New York 100 years later, in 1951. Representing the sea, okay, Lucifer. It's literally, Colombia is Lucifer in other words. So this is really the image of Colombia. And also Michel Bennett was known to be a mulatto. So the question would be, is Michel Bennett a French girl? Is she a mulatto? Is she just a blackface? Is she a demon? 1988 Day Live. What is this about truly? Okay, so it's in Malachi 2, 11, 12. Okay, let me read this. Okay, no, wait. In Genesis 28, 1. Yeah, it starts there. Genesis 28, 1. So, and Isaiah called Jacob and blessed him. So Jacob is Israel. His name was changed to Israel. And blessed him and charged him and said unto him, Thou shalt not take a wife of the daughters of Canaan. So I'll just read this. And then in Malachi 2. So it says, Judah had dealt treacherously, and an abomination is committed in Israel and in Jerusalem. For Judah had profaned the holiness of the Lord which he loved, and had married the daughter of a strange god. The Lord will cut off the man that doeth this, the master and the scholar, out of the tabernacle of Jacob, and him that offereth an offering unto the Lord of hosts. So yes. Okay, let's continue. Okay, so this is once again Colombia. So Cat Williams, Giving Glory to Colombia. And this is titled World War III. And I decoded the symbology. I've explained the symbology in my Babylon Hidden Side. So see the colors, the yellow. Rihanna also wearing Guopai, a Chinese couture gown for the Met Gala on May 2015. And she has the red hair. And remember, in the passage, well, there's someone in the Bible, okay, a woman who had two nations in her belly. One Hebrew and the other had the red hair. So once again, this is the old China flag, the yellow representing the sun, and then the dot. Okay, so this is the dragon from Eden, okay, which represents destruction. So this was the old China flag. Today, the flag of China is red with 5 yellow stars. So this is once again Barack Obama giving glory to Colombia, who's also known as Colombia. It's the golden voice, the golden disc. Colombia. It has to do with sound and imagery and synchronization. So this was for Newsweek, okay, magazine. This was issued on November 22nd, 2010. So see, he's holding the globe, the pagan globe, without the columns, which represents Christ. He has the health system. He has a column, houses, money, the helicopter. Why the modern presidency may be too much for one person to handle. And it's written God of all things, so GOAT, G-O-A-T. And he has the Shiva, the destruction, 6 hands. He's wearing black, white and black. And then with a red and black, so sacrifice, duality. Of course, in reference to the banner of the Holy Roman Empire with the double head eagle with aloes. And we know the emblem of US, one head, the emblem of Egypt, one head. But the banner of the Roman Empire has two. And it's in reference to ovo. See the O, okay, the eyes, and then the V. See it? Ovo. Ovo. So, Colombia. So going back to Macoy, the city with the most 5-star hotels. Okay, 5 stars. Star of Remphan. Known as one of the richest city in the world and the place of self-indulgence. Wow. In 1999, transfer of administrative from Portugal to China. And 1999 seems to be a very important year, just like 1988. And of course, Astro World, the Air Force, satellites, Athena. And what is a pop star? A pop star is literally an astro star. Astro. That means a fiction. It's fiction. It's deception. It's Barbie. Okay, because of course these imagery from NASA are deceptive. Because probably the images are captured under the sea and not in heaven. So this is Lucifer. Okay. Oh well, Athena. This is Satan. Think of Athena. Okay, it's the same image. Colombia. So Lucifer is also known as Lucy the Goat, Columbia, Gaia, Athena, Athens, Star of Remphan. And Satan in red. Santa, Centuria, Santa Claus, Saturn, Kronos, Saint Nicholas, Thor, like Thursday, Remphan. So this is Rhea, Colombia, giving the rock to Cronus. So what is the rock representing? Think of that. Sort of reminds me of the Jesus Christ calling himself the rock. I don't know what's the reference really. But this image comes from Germany. And I believe Trump comes from Germany too. Okay, so this is the ideal of Colombia. So not only Colombia was changed, the skin color was changed, the eye color was changed, the hair texture was changed. But the catch is you think you're looking at a woman, but this is a man. Okay, so this is the fake Jesus, also known as Lucifer, Lucy the Goat, Isis, Virgin Mary, Madonna. It's like they're all intertwined. Okay, this is China, the dragon. Okay, China represents the dragon. And the stars, in reference to the Star of Remphan, what you see in the Walk of Fame, because they're not in the sky. Okay, let's not be deceived. These are demons coming from the deep. Okay, so when you see Smallville and Les Météorites, these are the fallen angels. Luke 10:18. And this is what we call superheroes, but in reality, these are demons. It's like a mutant. We say mutant, so think of Black Panther, Superman, Batman, Robin, American something, all fallen angels. So see the Spectator, Obama falls to earth. Because Obama, I do believe Obama is like the blueprint for deception. So see President's battle to recover his power. Why I grow at dogs, China versus USA fascist art. I think everything is there when you read The Spectator, released on October 2012. So this is once again Obama going to the kids, okay, because they're targeting the kids. Reading Santa Gotta Go. Think of Leave the World Behind. So Obama surprises Chicago kids dressed as Santa Claus. And see MSNBC, so British Columbia. I don't know what it stands for, MSN, but anyway, that reminds me of the messenger system when the computer was being popularized in people's home. And see the 6 colors, the rainbow colors. Instead of 7, there's 6. Okay, the alphabet channels targeting the kids. Then, of course, he's playing the role. He's like a fallen angel. Then that reminds me of Wiz Comics. Think of Luke 10:18. This is the logo of Zeus. Sometimes you have like 2 bars. Sometimes it's like 3. Sometimes it's like a Z. And sometimes it looks like it has like 3 parts. I don't know how to explain that. Okay, so This is also Rihanna performing at the Super Bowl in Phoenix, Arizona. Okay, she was performing, we're like diamonds in the sky. So see, X in the back, the so-called stars. And she's wearing a cape, just like a Superman. And see, the focus is on the breast. She's pregnant. And the breast giving glory to their god they call Hathor. It's like the siren who has a Nephilim baby in her belly. Okay. So she's performing the Mass Phoenix ritual while singing Diamond at the Super Bowl with a red coat from Maison Margiela. Okay, so whenever you see them on TV broadcasting, it's a spell they're casting on the mass because a lot of people do watch the Super Bowl. So she's wearing from Maison Margiela, okay, the poupée chiffon. Poupée chiffon like Barbie, a dead poupée, a voodoo doll, okay, that walks just like a human. It's not everything you see that tests every spirit, okay? Poupée chiffon was seen also during a photo shoot with Madonna. Okay, this was for Vanity magazine. And this is Madonna or Columbia with Jean-Paul Gaultier, both blonde. Okay, giving glory to the sun, the golden dawn ritual. She has her breast out, golden dawn ritual. See people applauding? It's like a ritual. And even Jean-Paul Gaultier is wearing like a clown outfit. She has the red lipstick, the blue eyes. And see here? It looks like a butterfly on the right. Madonna is like wearing a butterfly, or it looks like skeletons. Then the babies. Okay, this is really lustful. So Poupée Chiffon by John Galliano. So the crown with 3 peaks. And think of Cara Ominique's that I've shown earlier. So anti, okay, in reference to anti, the Antichrist. So it's Rihanna's 8 studio album released in 2016. And this was done by an artist named Israeli. And see the balloon here, the balloon. And it looks like the child is wearing a tongue, okay? And the belly is out. It's sort of sexualized. So, of course, in reference to Clown from It, 2017 movie. So, it's the clown, It. This guy is a spirit. See the red hair, just like Rihanna, the red hair. Okay, so he's eating children. In Creole, we say a loup-garou, okay? So, this is a spirit who eats children, targeting children. And this is Rihanna posing in front of her album cover, wearing with a balloon, okay? And that reminds me of the show Pop the Balloon. I don't remember when it started, but this is like a dating show for so-called black women and black men. And when we say black, it has nothing to do with skin color, but instead it has to do with the spirit behind. And this show is happening in Phoenix, Arizona. Okay, Phoenix, Arizona. I do think, Phoenix, Arizona. See it here? It's called, there's a name that they give to this Utah, Colorado, I have presented the old map, but the Red Sea is between New Mexico and California. Because California, in the earliest map, was an island. Okay, so Pop the Balloon. So this is a show on YouTube. A version was made for Netflix. So see, the 4 hands, are these spirits? And what is the balloon representing?
before we jump into the video, I do want to say thank you, Fashion Nova, for sponsoring this video. We're going to be bringing out some single men when they come around this corner. If you like what you're seeing, you like what you're hearing, do not pop your balloon. However, there's anything that you're just really not a fan of, you just can't see yourself with this guy, go ahead and pop your balloon, and I'll go over to you and see why you ended up popping. Are you guys ready?
Does it represent the belly, the pregnant belly, with the Antichrist? So Pop the Balloon or Found Love was a viral hit for Black daters. Then Netflix gentrified it. Fans of the hit YouTube series are upset over Netflix watered down remake, which one of the streamers executives call a tragedy. So this was published in The Wired, April 2025. Okay, so now the question would be, what does that represent? Pop the balloon. Okay, so see, and also the people are wearing, they look like astronauts or people that are en quarantaine. You know, when the institute, when you are so-called crazy, you go to this institute that looks exactly like this. So we are the world. It's in reference to, okay, American Oxygen, what? And reminds me of We Are the World by Michael Jackson. It reminds me Prince of Power of Air, known as Colombia. The prosperity of the serpent being made. Okay, so this is once again an image from the music video from their moon exploration, Apollo 8. NASA means to seduce, remember that? So I've introduced also the Nephilim album that was released in September 1988. So see, Endomonidia and Demon, Nyada, the Watchman, Phobia, Moonchild, Court of Soul, Shiva, meaning destruction, Celebrate, Love Under Will, Last. So Colombia, see here, the eyes of Colombia, the evil eye in the back. And see here, there's an owl. There's a lot of hidden images in this image here. So see, it looks like a forest. Then there's an owl here. This looks like a serpent tongue. Okay, smirking. Beyonce turns up the heat. Yeah, the red horse. Then of course this is the same. The circle, Colombia. Then the child, the Antichrist. And that looks like the one looks like the Quebec for some reason. The Quebec logo on the flag. Then she's sitting on the serpent's head, the moon under. And that reminds me of verse said. She's wearing the sun. She's clocked with the sun and the moon, something like this in the Bible. Of course, this is the tarot card of the moon, and the tarot card was done by Aleister Crowley. Let's read. Let the illusion of the world pass over thee, unheeded as though goeth from the midnight of the morning. So which moon, which like illusion, upon thy beck, of blood flood, the midnight beetles, brave prophetic, blah blah, illusion, deception, bewilderment, hysteria, even madness, dreaminess, falsehood, error, crisis, the darkest hour before the dawn, the brink of important change. Okay, so this image here is known as the Nebra disc. This disc is attributed to the early Bronze Age. I don't know exactly what it is. So you see the moon, see the north, the south. So lunar crescent is a lunar phase when the moon appears red, indicating the first quarter. Stars, including cluster of 7 stars believed to be the Pleiades. Line at the bottom is interpreted as the solar boat here. The Aurora Borealis comet and a rainbow and the arc. Okay. Oh. The Nebra disc was found near a possibly astronomical complex, most likely depicting the sun of the full moon. The Pleiades in the summer and the winter solstice are stripes of gold, and the side of the disc with the top representing the horizon. L'horizon. Okay. I need to maybe do a little more research about this, but anyway. So the Nebra disc was found buried in Mittelberg, Wilberg iceberg hill near Nebra in Germany around the 18th century. So of course, think of the moonwalk, okay? So Michael Jackson is challenging gravity, okay? See the hat, black and white too. And see here, one eye, the eye of Horus, moonwalk. So of course, reference, this is a scene from the music video, Apollo 8, the moon mission back in 1969. Ocean 8, the movie, 2016. Because they're not in the heaven, but instead in the ocean, the deep. Maybe the Black Sea, who knows? Day Live, 1988. In reference also to Blue Lagoon, the movie with Brooke Shields, 1980. And the moon, remember in the Bible, the moon indicates seasons and times, okay? And in their case, they use television to broadcast this deception. So see, this is the people coming back from Apollo 8 in 1969. And the question would be, what is it that we're looking at? And they look like, they just think of the COVID-19, the BLM, okay, the mask. What is a mask? Okay, so this is when they return. Okay, so they return to Houston, Texas. So this is where they landed. And think of Beyonce, who comes from Houston, Texas. Although it was past 2 a.m., a crew of more than 2,000 people were on hand at Ellington Air Force. And Air Force, think even of the shoes. Air Force Base to welcome the members of Apollo 8 crew back home. Astronauts Frank Borman, James William Anders, and just flown to Houston from the Pacific Recovery Area by way of Hawaii. The 3 crewmen of the historic Apollo 8 lunar orbit mission are standing at the microphones in the center of the picture. So this was the image they did for the moon exploration. So in the beginning, God. So think of Universal Studio, but it's all deception. Think of the music video awards. The award is literally an astronaut. So the question would be, what is an astronaut? An astronaut is someone who's led astray. Astray, deceived, lost, high. So Paramount Media Network was founded in 1981. So MTV as Paramount Global as parent organization produced for music content, VMAs, Grammys, the reality show. And this MTV was known for Jersey Shore, Teen Mom, NASA. So NASA the moon mission was broadcast by Paramount Global on MTV. And that same MTV did shows like Jersey Shore, Teen Mom, okay? So think of all the pregnant so-called celebrity influencing the little girl. Okay, Ocean 8, so this is their logo too. So see triangle, you see the 8, you see the moon, the pagan globe. So the siren, it's the star, literally the star, the siren. See the breasts, giving glory to their God. Okay, so Falling from Heaven, Planet Her. This album was released in June 25 for Doja Cat under Sony Music. See the breasts, okay, Liber, NASA logo, the blue, the purple, the combinaison, the astronaut leading astray, the red hair. Then this is Doja Cat for MTV Music Awards on September 2023. The breasts are out. Now she's wearing the web, le filet de l'oiseleur. Internet, the net, okay? MTV. So they use music television. So this is Janet Jackson Timberlake performing at the Super Bowl on February 1st, 2004. So Liber, once again, the breast. This was a ritual, a broadcast ritual. And they always use the image of the black woman for some reason. Of course, not for some reason, but because they're after the Hebrew kid. Okay, so this once again, Liber, Portrait d'une Négresse, Paris in 18th century by Marie-Guillaume Benoit. Then the statue of Marie-Louise Coy David Christophe in Milo, Haiti, with the breast and the mask, Athena or Colombia. Then Lil Kim at the MTV Music Awards 1999 with the breast uncovered, Liber. And that looks like a seashell. Yeah, because we're talking about water spirits. And the person with her is blonde with blue eyes. Lol. And Lil Kim, I've shown in the image, her nose has changed over the years. This is once again, purple also is important, the color purple. So this is Nicki Minaj, purple glasses, okay? She's wearing Mugler Paris Fashion Week in 2017. So let's read this article by Glamour magazine. We don't know where to look at. If you were attending the Eder Ackerman show at Paris Fashion Week over the weekend, you might have struggled to look Nicki Minaj in the eye. Attending the prestigious catwalk show, Nicki rocked up in a asymmetrical Mugler top, which exposed her entire left breast with her nipple concealed with a single agent provocateur pasty. Okay, so this is this is not the right breast, but the left. Okay. So once again, Foxy Brown did the same. China Doll. See? China Doll. China. Anyway, so Foxy Brown's My Life, produced by Kanye West, released in 1999. So see, she has the breasts, okay, the right breast. Not really uncovered, but see, it's the same principle. Okay, so then Prince did the same, okay, giving glory to Purple Rain, which he performed is at the Super Bowl on February 4, 2007. So what is the Purple Rain? It's the golden age, the Antichrist, men and women intertwined, blue and red intertwined. So Venus, this is the logo of Venus, okay, Venus, coming from the sea, also known as Colombia. So Prince performing Purple Rain during the halftime in 2017. Then Beyonce in purple, representing Shiva for the Renaissance tour. See, the breast is covered, the genital part too, because guess who this is? And think of when you know when they say milk, they refer to milk. So milk, if you're a man, comes from what's between your two legs, and milk, if you're a woman, comes from your breast. So they do play with that, okay? It's like the nuance they bring. So of course, the same logo, what is a woman, which represents Venus or Saturn, whichever. So the yellow color. Then this is Beyonce at Coachella. And she has the yellow and the Greek. She has a yellow hoodie and a Greek logo in her hoodie. I think it's black. It has to do with Black Panther, something like this. It's a Greek organization. And then she's wearing here too another Greek organization top. So see the eyes of Horus. See Nefertiti, the Black Panther, the Black Power or Rebellion hand. Then the bee, Queen Bee. Okay, so the academic crest refers to Nefertiti, the Black Panthers, and Alpha Phi Alpha, the first inter-university fraternity created by African American in 1906. It is surmounted by a winged Aujat cat. Doja cat. Lol. The inscription 2018-26 explored the characters from the Greek alphabet. So this is Beyonce pregnant. Think of the moon child. Think of Pop the Balloon. Okay, so Beyonce pregnancy, Blue Ivy. She was wearing a purple. Then this is Beyonce for a second pregnancy. So see the blue here. Then this is like it's not really purple, but red purple. So this is when she was pregnant with the twins. She announced on February 2nd of 2017. So think of the moon bump, the moon child, moon bump. So this is really deception. So they do have the moon bump that you can use. That's why they are able to sell the Aleister Crowley's image, just like the men that are pregnant. So trans, pregnant, proud. Okay. This is ridiculous. So Logan Brown. See Brown. So Logan Brown on the cover of Glamour magazine 2023. So this is another painting from Tommy Cash's collaboration titled The Pure and Damned in 2019 with Rick Owens on ID magazine. So ID, identity loss. Think of the Jews. See blue eyes once again. Okay, the Trench family posted on YouTube that puts on fake pregnant belly. Why is that? This is the Aleister Crowley ideal. So James Charles did the same, a YouTube talent. Rihanna did the same. And this is interesting because see here. So this was posted in 2025. for Puma. So Puma is actually the Black Panther. Okay, Puma is a Black Panther, or a cat, the lion, however you want to call it. So she has the trident, she has the blonde hair, the golden ritual. She's pregnant, see? And this was for home girls, so homme, like men, girls. See the contrast? It's blasphématoire. And the yellow represents sun god, the blue, the sea. Okay. So in reference to slavery, being tight with money, economic crisis, we sweat for a nickel and a dime.
Hitler and Crowley are very crafty. Okay, so they came up with a blonde. Okay, so their ideal is a blonde, blue eyes, so yellow, blue. So think of the flag, the Barbados flag, or the Holland flag. Then androgyne, okay, because it's like male, female, because in reality it's a spirit. The prosperity of the serpent, so the image of Satan. In other words, that's what in the Bible God calls it a wolf. A wolf. It's like someone disguised with his animal skin, but it's his spirit behind. And silk hair. And think of the Jurassic Park. So it's like the reptilians. The prosperity of reptilians. So sometimes they depict themselves as a lion, as a puma, as a cat, as a black panther, as a cheetah. Yeah. And think of all of these animals as gene mixing, DNA mixing. Okay, it's another DNA, or in other words, these are parasites. These have nothing to do with DNA. These are parasites. And the parasites, they clone themselves. Just like when you, tu sais, les vers de terre, when you cut the vers de terre, they don't die. Another head comes, and now you have two. And it's very different from cell division. Cell division, you separate, and then you get two whole, okay? Okay, so I think I would like to read this. So in Psalm 35, 16 to 17, I'll read it in French and I'll put the translation in English because I don't have it in English here. So, avec les impies, les parasites moqueurs, ils grincent des dents contre moi, protège mon âme contre les embûches, ma vie contre les lionceaux. So God describes the parasites as lions, roaring lions. And now think of also the anti-Jew logo that you see everywhere, that we see everywhere, because Hitler was known to, he wanted to exterminate the Jew, okay? But the thing is, when Edom partnered with these spirits, they didn't know that these spirits would turn on them, okay? The only one who tells the truth is God. Satan is a liar. So the logos that we see for anti-Jews, so think of the Chicago flag. Think of the recycle bin, whether it's in your computer or the red or the green recycle bin. Think of Walmart. It's the same logo, the anti-Jew logo, the same one that you see in the flag of Israel, the fake Israel. And even in the arms of the coast arms of the USA, you see the anti-Jew logo. And even when you see the X, okay, the X, the Red Cross, 911, 9/11, Switzerland, the company, the Red Cross, because one thing people don't know is that the companies are like entities. When you incorporate something, your company is like an entity. The company is like its own person. But in reality, the companies were used as a shady way to commit evil. It's like for example, when you think of La Baie du Son, HBC company, well, the HB company, La Baie du Son, Hudson Bay Company, in other words, when you think of the Dutch West India Company, both were selling slaves. But when you look at these companies, it's like they're like, generally their head office are in the towers, and the tower, it's like you have many members into one tower, okay? And think of the Tower of Babel, and there's even a verse that says you're building high places for Moloch. So these towers, that's what they represent. It's like they represent a spirit, a being, an entity, apart from the individual. Okay, so this is the system, the Columbia system. And even going back to the Hudson Bay Company, they're located in Toronto, and their tower is called the Simpson Tower. So think of The Simpsons. Yeah, the show, the TV show. So what is truly Canada? What is truly les soi-disant Caraïbes? Okay, and we know that Caraïbes 2B 88, 1988. What is it? Because if you have satellites above, internet cable under, that means you can project any image that you want. You can broadcast any sound that you want. You can deceive people, because Nazareth means to deceive. Okay, so let's see. And even in the England flag, most of European flag, you see an X. There's an X or a cross, okay? And now think of the players. Okay, so I've talked about the Hitler and Crowley's ideal. We'll talk of the players such as Marilyn Monroe, Jane Mansfield, Wendy Williams, Beyonce, Rihanna. These are all molded image. Trump, blonde with blue eyes or very light eyes. And now when you think of the Caribbean, oh, and Crowley also stands for crawler. And there's a movie titled, I can't remember the name of the movie, but in the next episode I will be talking about this movie. But in the movie there are like crawlers, and they reside in the Himalaya, or the highest mountains, or high mountains. And these are like beings coming from the ground, okay? So think of evil spirits, the crawler. Just like Walking Dead, les zombies, yeah. Okay, so Jamaica also is important in the Caribbean. Haiti means the highest mountains. So I guess it gives competition to Switzerland. Jamaica, think of the lion's head, Bob Marley. And I've shown that Bob Marley and Obama are intertwined, playing the same role, because these are all imagery, doll, molded images.
Okay, so let's talk about the astral world. So breathe out, breathe in. So breathe out, you see the starship going up. Let's see. Okay, so the starship is going up. The satellite is going to the tower, is going to the top, okay? And of course, we're not talking about the so-called heaven that they portray in television, but instead we're talking about the deep ocean, the water spirits. Okay, so the spell, the broadcast of lust. Okay, so think of Colombia, Sony, okay? All Colombia, Sony, from the architecture to the creature, okay, because they worship the creature more than the creator, so the image of the beast. So he's often portrayed as a hero, a superhero, Lucifer coming to so-called save the nation, going back to Apocalypse when God said that Satan or the devil will reign for 3 years, something like this. So, of course, he will have his moment, and the system he's using is internet, communication, satellites, underwater internet cable. So that means that it explains why the ocean is occupied and the heavens is also occupied. Now the land is also occupied. Pregnancy, the dragon, the doll, Barbie, the sex doll. Okay, so coming in many image, but the catch is Lucifer, Satan, also known as the Eye of Ra, the Panopticon system, the Columbia broadcast system, is a androgen. So you think you're looking at a woman, but you're looking at a man. You think you're looking at an Hebrew, but you're looking at a Hitler ideal. How ironic. Okay, so of course, pop the balloon. So the balloon, think of the moon child. Think of the moon walk, the Apollo 8, the astronaut also as a reference to being led astray with their combination that kind of make me wonder if there's a pandemic. You know, the MTV, the stars, so now they occupy the land. They have sex doll or Barbie, live Barbie, planet her. Under the influence of Columbia, the frequency of Satan, 44 hearts. Okay. Liber, the ritual, so milk. So honey, hey, 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 like honey, hey. So honey, so think of the hair, but also think of bee, like B-E-T-C-H, the panther, the prosperity of the serpent. Okay, and Puma is Wakanda, the same thing. So the abomination. So it's okay, and of course we know that if the population is all trans, well, we won't be able to procreate, because I do know that when they do give the puberty blockers to those children, it also mess up their reproduction system. Okay, so just imagine a whole generation of fertile men. Like, how crazy is this? So now this would be the best moment to push these fake babies. So we sweat for a nickel and a dime. So this scene is literally them coming through astral projection or what looks like astral projection, or this could even be Santa, you know, Santa and with the rain, okay, or sometimes pictures as a goat, Santa, you know, coming down. But we know that these are spirits, okay, evil spirits. So think of slavery, being tight with money, the economic crisis, doing overtime, no rest. And I do know that in New York, specifically in New York, most people I know have at least 3 jobs. And just for the car payments, like having a car is so expensive. So imagine just the house. So that's why they at least need to have at least 3 income. That is crazy. If you're an entrepreneur, of course, that would make more sense. So just imagine how useless is this minimum salary. Okay, just to give an idea of this slavery system ideal. So this is Lana Del Rey for the music video National Anthem. Okay, so here, what's interesting, okay? I'm bringing this photo because we're talking about this prosperity, the prosperity of the serpent being on the land. And here, this looks like a snake. So this is Lana Del Rey. She has a diamond necklace. Then she has a green ring. I don't know. It's emerald. Anyway, and here it's written paradise. She has the cat eye, the makeup, very drag makeup, and even the hair, very 90s or 80s. She's playing the role of Jackie Kennedy. And notice also the cyan blue dress. And this color that was used to represent the blue sky, because they believe that the blue sky was in the past. Okay, they used to paint their porch in blue because they thought this would discourage the evil spirit to come in, because we know the evil spirits were cast out from heaven. So it's like their belief. But in that case, now the evil spirit is wearing the sky blue. Okay, that's what you're looking at here. So that's the projection. So Colombia, see here the eye, what looks like umbrella during this movie. So she's sitting on a lion that looks like a snake here, but later I'll show you that this is a lion. But just think of the snake prosperity, okay? And she's doing also the hand gesture with the pinky. So also this color is seen in the Greek, was used for the Greek revolutionary flag. It was used during the 1769, okay, during the Orlov revolt, think of that, to the early stages of the War of Independence in 1821. Lana Del Rey playing the role of Jackie Kennedy, and this was for her music video National Anthem with A$AP Rocky. So it was directed by Anthony Mandler. So here she has the hand signs saying hi to the universe. Okay, notice also the ring she's wearing, the Saturn ring. Then this is A$AP Rocky wearing the cyan blue on a boat. Okay, they're on a sailboat, what looks like it at least. She's wearing a red dress, so blue, red. Think of the color of the flag. A$AP Rocky is flexing his wrist, and think of what the wrist means. Okay, the reference to the wrist. If you haven't watched Babushka Boy, you should. Okay, so of course, Melania Trump channels also Jackie Kennedy in Ralph Lauren outfit, so the same blue used. Okay, so something has to do, like fashion is used to channel certain spirits, okay? So that's why the brands that we do wear matters. It's important to at least understand what the brand represents and etc. So this is Donald Trump and Melania Trump during the inauguration of January 2021. So see the blue, okay, the red, just like here, blue, red tie. So they do use colors to communicate. And what we are looking at here are the Phoenicians, okay? Think of this group, an old group called the Phoenicians. So you'll find the Assyrians, you'll find different other cultures. And they were known to be very knowledgeable in the sea also, just like the Israelites. And the blue represents the sea or the sky. Purple is their other color as a blaspheme to call themselves the royalty. Okay, royalty. But in reality, the purple, think of the coat that Jesus was wearing when he was going to the cross. Okay, so, and think also of the coat of Salomon, I'm not sure. La couleur pourpre. Okay, but so think of blue and red gives purple. That's all I'm showing here. Okay, and think of the Statue of Liberty. So this is Jackie Kennedy, Onassis during her husband's John F. Kennedy inauguration in 1961. So this is her. She's wearing the pearl necklace. Okay, the pearl necklace, we'll find it very often. So she's in sky blue alongside the first Prime Minister of India. So think of India. India is in Asia. And America is probably Asia. So Jackie walked with Indian Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru in the garden of his home in 1962. So think of the reference to the garden, like the Garden of Eden, the prosperity of the serpent. Okay, so from the Golden Book, okay, this is Disney. They're representing also Cendrillon. So the light blue, this was the color of her dress, Cinderella. So from Disney. And she has the blonde hair, the blue eyes. Once again, the Hitler and Crowley's ideal. Okay, the anti-Jew imagery. Propaganda imagery, should I say. So this is Beyonce performing during her Renaissance tour on May 2023 with the Cinderella look. But Beyonce always has a slit for some reason. I need to understand why. So this is where she was performing during her Renaissance on May 2023, wearing a sky blue Brandon Blackwood gown. Okay, subliminal Blackwood. Okay, and think of also of her entertainment studio called Parkwood. Blackwood. Okay, so black not as the skin color, but the spirit behind. So this is Hailey Bailey, the Siren movie. So she performs Part of Your World for Little Mermaid at Disneyland on May 14, 2023, wearing a blue gown. And she has the castle behind, the underworld, the deep sea, the black sea. Okay, where demons resides. Okay, this is her here. So this is once again the same blue, cyan blue color dress. Okay, in reference to the siren. So the blonde hair. Okay, and what you're looking at is a androgyne, just like as the image of Crowley. Amen, Serena's farewell, a terrible at goodbyes. Fashions, new world. So new world, just like I've talked about in my Babylonian Hidden Site web series. So this is for Vogue cover, issued on September. Okay, so why everything's changing and who's behind it? Yeah, that is a really good question. So see the daughter or the prosperity of the serpent. So now the question, if that's a man, who is this girl? You know, that would be the good question, at least the right question to ask. Okay, so By the Sea, and think of the siren. Okay, MTV, the Splashes season, her story. So see, blaspheme her. So RuPaul Drag Race, so race, sports. When they talk about sports, it generally has to do with gender. Even the Olympic, it has to do with Cinteria. I've shown in the previous episode in Who Plays Who, role play. I've shown that Wendy Williams is RuPaul, plays a role of RuPaul. The blonde hair, the blue eyes, so the red lip, Aleister Crowley's ideal. And the back, you see a pyramid, what looks like a pyramid. Then she's underwater, the siren, okay, the spirit of Dagon. So this is RuPaul TV series in 2009, okay. So in this series, okay, they're known to, okay, so what they do generally in the RuPaul Drag Race, so it's like a competition that has to do with beauty. It's like a beauty pageant competition. And then, so these are all men, and they dress up as women. and they do karaoke, they perform Mariah Carey, Beyonce, and all this stuff.
Fifi O'Hara and Sharon Needles.
I wear heels that heighten the mood.
My balloons have attitude.
People never think that I'm a dude.
Yeah, right. I do it so much better than you.
You little devil, you.
Let's state facts, you're orange, not tan.
This coming from Miss Marilyn Manson.
Well, I'd rather be pale than have a tan in a can.
What?
I do it so much better than you.
I think she added a teaspoon or two of Christina Aguilera, but that's another matter.
And the reason why I'm mentioning this is that when you go to concerts, like concerts for Beyonce and like celebrities like such, generally they don't really sing live, okay? They're just lip singing. And that's exactly what they show you in this TV show. They're literally telling you what the artists, who are the celebrities in reality. And some of them are just graven image or some of them don't even exist. On the right, this is Balenciaga, the 360 show in Paris. So 360, 666, okay, some gematria. Balenciaga means Baal is king in Latin. And Paris, think of the Eiffel Tower on the top. It's called the Antenna. Aleister Crowley, a Martian, the depiction of Aleister Crowley I've shown earlier. So here you have the trident, the three strikes. So you have the color yellow and blue. And on top you have the 360. And think of the pagan globe, the astral globe, what we call the Earth, okay? The Earth referencing to the Earth as a planet, which is completely false. So this is the same dress Kim Kardashian wore for the Balenciaga campaign on fall 2022. So this is a depiction of Luke 10:18, okay, when Satan was cast out from heaven. She's sitting on the water. She has the cyan blue, the bag, okay. She wears the glasses, 8, think of 8, the astral world vision, and also the hair, the silver hair, in reference to the moon, Luna. And Prince also, the fashion during the Super Bowl halftime on February 4, 2007, when he performed Purple Rain. He wore a blue suit and the guitar is purple. And then you see that looks exactly like a fish on his, so think of the siren, okay? The prosperity of the serpent. As above, so below, meaning the deep water, the Black Sea. So when they say they're black, it has nothing to do with the skin color, but instead it has to do with the spirit behind. So here, the cover album of Prince, Prince Rogers Nelson, 1979 CD. The pink, the blue, okay, these are the colors of the LGBTQ flag. Then here the purple, the peace sign, so what's between your two legs. Then he's on a white horse, just like Beyonce did. And think of the painting, The Boy and the Horse, from Leonardo da Vinci, I believe. And this is released by Warner Bros. And think of the logo of Warner Bros. So you see the trident, and then you see the 8 for Ocean 8, or that looks like, which looks like glasses. Okay, so the glasses of deception. So Barbie movie premiere in London, played by Margot Robbie, who mirrored the Enchanted Evening Barbie from 1960. So the guy, or what looks like a guy, he's wearing a blue cyan blue costume, and what looks like a girl is wearing the pink. So think of the LGBTQ flag. And what's interesting is that Margot is wearing the 3 pearl necklace. Okay, think pearl, la perle des Antilles, the Pearl River, and also pearl represents beauty. So once again, the Aleister Crowley's ideal. So these are androgynes. So the woman is the man and the man is the woman, and both have the blue eyes, the blonde hair, okay, as a protest to anti-Jew. Aleister Crowley's ideal. So this is also Earthquake by Tyler, the Creator, aka Wolf. Wolf in reference to when God is warning us against the wolf. And the wolf are the prosperity of the serpent. So just in reference to this wolf. Okay, yeah. So the story goes like this. I believe it's the wolf and the goat. And the wolf represents... It's like a being, a dark spirit, but he has the skin of a wolf. Okay, something like this. Anyway, so once again, the blonde hair, okay, Crowley's ideal on a black person. And black person has nothing to do with the skin color, but instead of the spirit behind. So when we look at this, we say, oh, a black person referencing to the skin color, but it has to do with the spirit behind, okay? Because see here, Margot and, well, for the Barbie, these are also black people, meaning that the spirit behind, okay, it's darkness. And in the back, silver, representing the moon. So once again, this color, the cyan blue, was extracted from the green indigo plant. The symbolic use of blue sky is rooted in African culture, but it's also a reminder of the legacy of the transatlantic slave trade. And think of Egypt. Egypt is in Africa, okay? And also Wakanda, the puma, it's all the same. The Black Panther, it's all the same. They use the same reference. The lion, it's like a cat. It's a cat. So here... Rihanna is seen with the Aleister. So this is the Aleister Crowley's ideal. Once again, she has the blonde hair and she's the man. And A$AP Rocky is the pretty. So he's the woman of the relationship. So the androgyne God worship. So this was on the right. This was Rihanna and A$AP Rocky in New York on May 17, 2025. And on the left, it was Rihanna wears blue Bottega Veneta dress during BFA. The December... BFA, what's BFA again? The December 2019, okay, British Fashion Awards in London. So England. Aleister Crowley. So once again, Serena Williams at Met 2025 in New York, hosted by Vogue editor-in-chief Anna Wintour. So think of Tyler, the Creator, depicting Anna Wintour. And she's probably in the image of Aleister Crowley, so androgyne. Ahead of this year Met Gala, the theme for which is superfine tailoring black style. So black not as the skin color, but instead it's really about the spirit behind. But they fool us thinking they're talking about the skin color, but the Black Lives Matter had nothing to do with the skin color, but instead it has to do with the demons, the dark spirits, and we chanted for these demons, all in unity. Okay. So may God have mercy on us. Okay, so this is Serena Williams. Okay, so Serena Williams is a androgyne. Okay, what rhymes with tennis in French? Okay, so she's wearing the cyan. The same goes with Lupita Nyong'o's wear a power blue Chanel suit at the Met Gala on May 2025 in New York. New York, very important. Because, you know, the Statue of Liberty is Lucifer. And they're wearing the color of the Statue of Liberty. Okay, so this is Serena Williams and so-called daughter in reference to the photo. So see, just in this photo alone, they use colors to speak. So the blue, the cyan blue, the pink, the white. So it's in reference to the LGBTQ. So if Serena Williams is a man, who is this child? Where is this child coming from? So also here in Quebec, so LCN... I was just randomly at someone's house waiting for clothing, and then I stumbled upon this image that was broadcast on TV. So l'ajout des analyses, so they're all wearing, so the women are wearing suits, and think of the Met Gala team. So this was in 2025. Les médecins ont voulu faire peur aux patients. Okay, so this was interesting. Okay, this is at a cafe. So what rhymes? Qu'est-ce qui rime avec tennis? Of course, you already know the two ball. Okay, the two ball. So think of when they say, I'm playing ball. Oh, this is so disgusting. When you truly understand what's happening, like in front of our eyes, we'll be so disgusted. It makes me want to puke sometimes. This is in Montreal, so that was above. Et at the Café Oui Mais Non. Okay, so indecisive. So this is Queen Elizabeth, same thing. The androgyne at the image of Aleister Crowley. The blue eyes. I believe she was blonde, I don't know. So this is her, Queen Elizabeth II, or her, him, I don't know. Queen Elizabeth in baby blue coat, dressed in Kate Middleton for a garden party on June 1, 2017. And we know that June, Pride Month, the 6th month. And Saturn is the 6th planet. Okay, so this is Kate. I don't know who's Kate exactly, but she's from the royal family. Same thing, the blue coat. Okay, so once again, the blue, the yellow, and what looks like thunder, or how can I say that? That looks like arms. The one that you see in the logo of COP27 Egypt for climate change. Okay, so this is Cornbread Jeté wearing Savage X Fenty for RuPaul Drag Race Season 14. So X Fenty. So she's wearing the sun. Okay, and this is the horn in reference to the high priest in the image of Aleister Crowley, androgyne. So once again, Blake Lively wearing the Lady Liberty gown by Versace at Met Gala 2022. And we know that the Met Gala is a trans parade. So see the blue. She's waving to the universe at the image of Aleister Crowley, blue eyes and blonde hair. So this is Sydney wearing a Miu Miu Cinderella baby blue dress at the Met Gala 2024 in New York. So in the United States, enslaved Africans and later their Gula Geechee descendants used the blue dye of the indigo plants to warn of aints, demons, and buhags, wandering Vengerwolf spirits. So when they say, like, there's a song by Janae Aiko that say, I'm a wanderer. I used to sing that song not understanding what she was saying, but a wanderer is a evil spirit, is a demon. Okay, because there's a verse that says Satan is like a roaring lion looking for someone to devour. So when you cast out a demon, he's looking for another house to inhabit. Okay, so the same Hailey Bailey as the Little Mermaid star wearing the Aqua Gabba gown at the 2020 Oscar. So, of course, after her appearance for Little Mermaid. So then, of course, Michael Obama White House portrait painted by Sharon Sprong unveiled on Wednesday, on September 7, 2022. And we know that Wednesday is the first day of the week. September, the 9th month. Anyway, so the use of blue could deceive the ants into thinking it was the sky, so they would continue flying upward, or that it was water which they could not cross. Okay, so that's really what they believed. So remember, there's water above and there's water below. Okay, so of course, this is Michelle Obama after her official White House portrait was unveiled in the East Room of the White House on Wednesday, September 2022. So also, this is the color of China. You see the blue, the yellow in the back. The blue dress, she's wearing purple going to red. So speaking of purple, and yeah, blue and red gives purple. Speaking of purple, oh, and also the USA flag, think of birth of a nation. Think of Stalin. So there's a movie Color Purple that was done or released on 2023 featuring Fantasia Taraji Oprah, her. It was released on November 20th, distributed by Warner Bros. Okay, so W and 8 probably is the Aleister Crowley's ideal androgyne. So woman in purple. So woman really, or androgyne, or man wearing woman's outfit. So woman in purple during Biden's inauguration on January 2021, Hillary Clinton, former lady, Michelle Obama, former lady. And what is lady? What is a lady? Lady is another name that we give to Babylon, okay? Lady of Apocalypse, or just Lady is another name for Babylon. Kamala Harris, who was vice president during that time. So see here the Newsweek cover, 25 on purple, and it says Seeing Purple, Barack Obama, a rising star who wants to get beyond like Beyonce, beyond blue versus red. And Barack Obama is the face of Colombia. Beyonce's, her name stands for boy wants, beyond others, whatever, Babylon. So just like in the movie, the tower, who's beyond, who's like the tallest, is the golden voice. The morning after Election Day in 1960, 8 months pregnant Jackie Onassis wore a purple coat, the color of royalty. And see here, the pearl necklace. Everyone has a pearl necklace. The prosperity of the serpent. And of course, blue eyes, blonde hair. It's crazy because I've never noticed that most of them were like blue eyes, blonde hair. And most people that I know don't have like blue eyes and blonde hair. So I've never noticed how they projected that on TV. And now I understand why we are like caught up in these things, because that's literally what we consume. And that's why most of Hebrew don't like themselves. What we call today black women, they don't like themselves because they are feeding themselves. We are feeding ourselves with these Aleister Crowley's imagery. And even the people who sort of have the same skin color as us do sort of portray the Aleister Crowley's image still. Je suis noire. Mais je suis belle. Fille de Jérusalem. Black in 2020, e-book disponible sur jessieemileboutique.com. Of course, oh yeah, and here on the right, this is Tipper Gore with the PMRC, Parent Music Resource Center. So think of Sony Music sound, okay? So the antenna that broadcasts the sound on the city, as a co-founder in 1985. She's wearing purple. Now the Queen Elizabeth, when she died, the cover was purple. And this was broadcast in BBC. So broadcast, but then Colombia. I don't know what the other B means. So B can also see 88. Okay, this is BB is also 88. So this is Queen Elizabeth II, born 1926, died in 2022. Okay, in the image of Aleister Crowley, so androgyne. The prosperity of the serpent, and she's wearing a cyan blue so-called dress. So this is before she died. This is her Queen Elizabeth touching the Commonwealth of Nation Globe. This is how they call it. During the beacon lightning ceremony at the Windsor Castle for the Jubilee. And the Jubilee, if you haven't watched Land of Liberty, Babylon and Hidden Side, I do talk about what they used to do for the Jubilee. So they used to portray the black face, okay, the Hebrew. Because we know that the Jubilee is really tied to Hebrew, the Hebrew practices from the law of God. And they do the same, but to mock it, okay? So, androgyne. So if, let's say, okay, oh yeah, and the blue planet, meaning universal, this is the same blue that you see in the logo of NASA, that they use for the logo of Sega Saturn. The blue is used for many I think for many logos, I do have an episode on that, but that represents being one language, okay? And it's in the form of a globe. So it's like a Babylonian commonwealth, like when at the end and in the Revelation book, when they all come together, okay? And they have one language, which is symbolism. And this is the reason I did this web series titled Babylon in Hidden Sight, where I do explain a little more. Okay, so this is A$AP Rocky during the Oscars. So A$AP Rocky wearing the duality colors, black and white. And then in the back seat, the purple. And then the cyan on Rihanna. So she's pregnant. And think of the moon child, the moon bump, okay? So if she's a woman, or if this is a woman, this is a man. Like, what is it? Is that a real belly? Okay, so think of Pop the Balloon. This was a photo published on Instagram on February 13, 2024. And then when I look at the photo, I am automatically thought of Blue Ivy and Hailey. And this is how powerful a face is, okay? When a face is broadcast to you like nonstop, it's like you don't even need to know the person's name. You already recognize their face. So it's very powerful. The mugshot, the idea of Colombia, the selfies. It's like we ourselves are building a mugshot portfolio for the system, for Colombia system. Okay, so on the right, of course, so Blue Ivy. So if Beyonce is a man, who is this kid? Okay, think of the perspective of the serpent, the doll, okay, that now walks. Okay, that has a system inside that makes us believe it breathes. And to be honest, on Instagram, I've seen a lot of imagery of so-called Blue Ivy dancing. And I'm like, this is a fake person. It's so clear. This is a fake person. It's a doll. Okay, so this is Beyonce. Okay, on the water. So see the tree of life. She's wearing a papal hat. She has the blonde hair, blue eyes, Aleister Crowley's ideal. She has a form of an X, okay, on her chest. She's wearing, that looks like a bustier. So Beyonce, Shatta Wale, Major Lazer already. Music video 2019 album from Lion King, The Gift. Premiered on Disney Plus on July 31st, 2020 during BLM. So this was one of the scenes. All the men were wearing purple. Okay, so this looks like an Egyptian. So think of Versace. Okay, so think of the hair. The dreads that sort of represents destruction, the snake hair, then purple or burgundy red, okay? So this is another shade of purple, the same scene, their face off, okay, hiding their face. Then here is Beyonce, okay, beyond others, okay? So the tree of life, she's wearing the blue, and these sort of look like monkeys, but these are principalities. These are demons, okay? In other words, they're depicting demons, okay? So the spirit of the water, think of Liberty Status, who's located in the water. So marine spirit, as above, so below, meaning the deep sea on the land now. And I do believe in this music video, she has like a cow scene, meaning that now she's living on the land and she has a prosperity. Okay, so the cow, the milk, MILF. Okay, so of course, Cyrene. So they're teaching the children or the young women to be prostitutes, basically, and to carry Nephilim's baby. Just like les mères porteuses. Yeah, this principle, like the invention of mère porteuse. And we know that in the Bible, it says that it's only God who can make you pregnant, honestly. He's the one who decides. And whatever your age, because Sarah was very, very old and it was impossible for her to make a child, but God gave her the promise that she would, and she did. So, yeah, this is just another way to encourage women into prostitution, using fear, saying that, oh, if you get older, you won't be able to have a child. You have to freeze your egg. You have to say, blah, blah, blah. BS. Stay still. Okay, so this is also Merlion, so snake. It's a snake, it's a siren, it's a jaguar, it has dreads, it's a cat, it's whatever. It's basically a dragon. So Merlion statue in Singapore, Asia, built by Lim Nang Seng, designed by Kwan Sai Keong. Okay, I'm gonna stop. 1972. This is also a representation of Lady of the Lake. Okay, that story. So she is wearing blue. She's Venus, in other words. And see in the back, there's a castle. And these are like spirits. See, there's a horse. Mufasa. So we're talking about African culture, African Egyptian practices. So Beyonce wearing a balmain dress and Blue Ivy wearing Christian Siriano at the Lion King Mufasa red carpet premiere in 2024. So remember, if Beyonce is a man, who is this child? Who is this child? So the Aleister Crowley's ideal, the prosperity of the serpent. So this is the cover of The Lion King, 1994, produced by Walt Disney Pictures. So The Lion King first came out in June 15, 1994. So Juneteenth. Okay, and remember June is Pride Month, okay, so with a running time of 88 minutes, so 88, just like BB, 1988, Ocean 8, whatever, Apollo 8, etc. So the plot, so what is the plot of The Lion King? So in the Pride lens, so just Pride lens of Tanzania, a pride of lion rules over the kingdom from Pride Rock. Come on now. The characters are King Mufasa and Queen Sarabi. The newborn, so Sarah, you know, like the prosperity to Abraham. The newborn son, Simba Rafiki, the mandrill shaman of the kingdom. And the king young brother, Scar. So it's like they're taking the Bible and they're mocking it, in other words. Okay, so in the image of Aleister Crowley and Hitler. So purple, blue, once again, the cyan blue, going back to purple, cyan blue. So this is Pete Davidson and Kim Kardashian in 2022 for Saturn Day Late Night Show, SNL. They're depicting Aladdin. See the black nail on the man? I don't know what this fashion represents. Aladdin was known as a pauvre, someone who didn't have any means. He had a genie, a demon god. So anyway, so this is the cover of Aladdin. So once again, a little golden, so the golden age, okay, it's the golden voice, the golden down ritual, the blonde hair, okay, giving glory to the sun, Sunday, and considering Sunday as the 7th day of the week, when in reality is the 3rd to 4th day. Okay, so this is Aladdin 1992, a Chinese tale. So the genie looks like a water spirit, sort of. So let's read. The original story of Aladdin comes from China, an Arabian Indian collection tale, 1001 Nights. Okay, so the plot. So Aladdin is a young, impoverished dwelling in one of the city of ancient China. Is it a spirit? He is recruited by a sorcerer from Maghreb. He's a spirit. Aladdin is a spirit. From the Maghreb, the sorcerer convinces Aladdin and his mother of his goodwill by pretending to set up the lad as a wealthy merchant. But his real ulterior motive is to persuade young Aladdin to retrieve a wonderful oil lamp, Chirag, from a booby-trapped magic cave. After the sorcerer attempts to double-cross him, Aladdin finds himself trapped in the cave. This is when Aladdin gets introduced to the genie demon of the magic ring. So think of Saturn. The sorcerer lent him. Interesting. So see the lioness again, the bodysuit of the lion, skin lion. Once again, going back to the cyan blue. So she's wearing the cyan blue also. This is Emma Chamberlain wearing Miu Miu at the Met Gala, the drag gala in 2023. And the slit again, Cendrillon Cinderella, the siren. She's wearing also silver in the image of Aleister Crowley. She has blue eyes. She used to have the blonde hair, but she's playing with both. So this is once again the scene of Lana Del Rey in National Anthem. So see, she's sitting on a lion. And they use that for ritual purposes, just like Jane Mansfield, who was sitting on the lion's head when she was with the occultist Anton LaVey in the Church of Satan. So Lana Del Rey as Jackie Kennedy, okay, in the music video. So see the fake family. So and that's what we call the prosperity of the serpent. And this is once again Rihanna in the image of Aleister Crowley with the trident behind. And I've shown this image in Universal Park when demons were coming out of the ground, okay? Because that's what the symbol of the trident represents. The water demons coming on the land, the siren who now has legs. So she's so-called pregnant. I don't know, but this photo kind of disgusts me for some reason. I don't know. Ew. So see the clothes. It looks like sloppy. It's weird. It looks dirty and disgusting. And it looks like it smells very bad. Like parasites, you know. Okay, so Barbados, see the fake belly. The bra, okay, because the golden dawn, they use a lot of lingerie. It's like lingerie now is the fashion that you wear out, and it's very common nowadays. A lot of young girls, and I do understand that because I used to do that also to indulge in this, but I used to wear lingerie when going out, and when you really take a look at it, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. It's actually, when you do that, you're just reproducing what you've been looking at, because that's what they do and we do the same. It's like we are the monkeys to them. So this is for home girls, so girls, and this is like pedophilia, to be honest. Girls, why not women? No, they use girls. It's anyway, so because they're serving their androgen god, so it's normal to be a pedophile. So volume 14, so Puma Sport, September 2025. That's why God warned us to not sacrifice our kid to Baal, Moloch. So what does God means by that, eh? Because honestly, we're looking at demons. We're mimicking demons, the image of Aleister Crowley. That's what television actually is, without us even knowing or noticing. And that's why nowadays men are like women and women are like men. It's deception. And even Disney, when you really get into the story, you realize that the story are very sinister. It's not what we do really believe. And one of the rules of the Church of Satan was aesthetic. Everything has to be pleasing, aesthetically pleasing, because they do understand that we are creatures of sight. Us human, we are creatures of sight. And notice here, teen mom. It's like they were projecting the future, saying that this is what we're feeding you with, and you will reproduce what you eat. Okay, even the moonwalk, we were so happy to do the moonwalk without even understanding what they were saying. So this is Aleister Crowley's imagery, the anti-Jew imagery. We kill ourselves, okay? How many end up killed their own brother? How many Hebrew kill their own brother? How many reject their own wife, the mother of their kids? How many comes from broken families? How many Hebrew work so hard that they don't even raise their kids? A way of sacrificing ourselves to Moloch, the demon. And how many of us worship God on 4th day of the week? Sunday. So they say they're Jews, but they're from the synagogue of Satan. Being a Jew is not necessarily the skin color in itself, but yeah, the deception is real. Anyway, so I hope you enjoy this video, and I see you in the next one.
Okay, so finally, the last point is the color blue that is used in fashion. The color purple that represents royalty. Okay, so the blue, they use it like for Cinderella. So think of all the Disney book, the Golden Book, Okay, there are series, so you have Aladdin, Cinderella, the Siren, etc., etc. And these are all like wicked stories, but they made it as for children, as innocent, but these are demon stories, in other words. Okay, so Blue Cinderella, it's using Lady Liberty. So Lady Liberty is also Lucifer. And Lady Liberty is an ain't. Okay, so the ain't's wearing the blue. Now purple is for royalty. Okay, so when you mix blue and purple, blue and red, you get purple. But when blue and red are separated, that means separation. And think of the tribe, the Israel and the tribe of Judah, the kingdom separation. White represents union, being one. So all the color all along, the color along, all together, I should say. Okay, so now think also of the Greek, the Phoenicians, when we think of Europe. And the Phoenicians are very important because the Phoenicians are the ones wearing these colors that we see on TV, Phoenicians. And think of the Phoenicians' head that were found in Mexico. Think of George Floyd, which represents the Phoenician's head. Okay, and think also of the partnership that New York did with the Mexicans. So there is a lot going on behind the scene. And think of also of all the logos, X, like Off-White, Twitter changing for X, Savage X, Fenty, what else? Phoenix, well, there's an X. And XXX Sensation, etc. And also when it comes to television, when it comes to broadcasting, the communication system, that means that the moon exploration was probably just a made-up film, an illusion. And think of Nike, the logo Nike, which means victory. The same logo you see in MTV, the V is like a Nike logo. You'll notice also MTV, television, la télévision, tunnel vision, okay, deception, moon exploration, being led astray, the astronaut, okay, the falling of mankind, etc. Okay, so just remember, 400 years has passed now. That means you're free. So if you have a business, if you have something that God put in your heart, it's time now, because God says He will give His children possession of the land. All this belongs to God. Even the enemy belongs to God. Satan belongs to God. So remember that. So enjoy this video. And also, yeah, if you do have, if you need music for content or whatever, you can purchase music that is royalty free on my website. So one-time purchase, you can use the music. Of course, I guess you will use it for good. So yes, just letting you know. And also I do have an ebook that is available that you can buy on my website also, and many things if you're into art. Okay, so visit jcemilboutique.com.